And watching them progress and getting better, it's great to see new esports teams developing.
Yeah, definitely. I think especially if they're entering 6 cars into a championship like this, is obviously.
I think it's 6. I think it's more.
It could well be more. Maybe it is more. They're just keeping it secret.
There's a new one every round.
But yeah, I think if that's the case, then they're serious about developing in all different kinds of cars, and you got to have a good idea of what everyone can drive to the limits. Using tyre decks, sprint racing like this is a great way of getting experience up and running, because if you're going to be in endurance events, you're going to have close racing, but you're going to have to also measure yourself and not throw it off, basically. Sprint racing, people can get ahead of themselves. They can think, oh no, it's only 50 minutes, which is quite a long time for a race, to be fair, but it gives you an opportunity to develop those skills and be patient and see to the end.
Yeah, exactly that. 55 minutes are the races for today, so plenty of time to make a mistake or two out there. Of course, we're not hoping for that. We're hoping for some good, clean, close racing that we did see throughout most of the other rounds. Brands GP was a fantastic round that we had. Zandvoort also a fantastic round. I did miss a couple of them. I was away doing other things. I think I was commentating on other matters. I couldn't be here. But I am here for the final round, and I'm very, very, very much looking forward to this.
We're going to have a fantastic final round, I think. That's pretty much guaranteed. Even if the top 4, all battling it out in 10th, it's still going to be a fantastic race. As I said, Matt Richards, I still think he's going to be the one to put the spanner in the works. He's going to be a real thorn in the side of those top 4 drivers, and he's going to make it very interesting.
Yep. Luke Bennett, Matt Goodger-Scott, Christian Kelly, and Jack Ashton. They're your top 4. Not in that order. Jack Ashton is actually 3rd. Christian Kelly is 4th. Now on the points table on the website, we'll brush past this little dilemma. But yes, it's.
Don't worry, we have found that as well. If you commented on YouTube, oh, they're in the wrong order.
We know. Yeah, Jack Ashton is 3rd with 109 points. Christian Kelly in 4th with 100 points. And of course, with that 35 points up for grabs as well, there's a lot of points to fill those times in, those point gaps in. But yeah, they're going to be the guys to keep an eye on. But of course, as we were saying, yeah, Matt Richards is going to be that thorn in the side.
And they're all in the next qualifying.
They are all in the next qualifying.
We're going to have a lot to talk about in the next qualifying, aren't we? Because it's going to be about how they use their tyres as well. So who can get out, set those 1 or 2 flying laps, get themselves back in, change their tyres, and get back on it as soon as the track develops.
Yeah. So they've only got 10 minutes for qualifying as well, so they don't want to be doing a lap coming in, fresh set of tyres going up, because you've got to remember the tyres are then cold. You've got to warm them back up again. The R-Factor 2 is a sim that we are running for today in the venue, 15 sims in the venue as well. But these guys, they just simulate the warmth in the tyres, but once you put a fresh set on, they are going to be slightly cold. And when you've got that limiter on in the pit lane, you're not putting any tyre temps in. You have to try and absolutely gun it off the pit box, try and burn a bit of tyres, temp into those rears as you pull away.
Indeed, yeah. But then as the track develops, it gets warmer, gets more rubber. It actually gets easier to get a tyre up to temperature. So it's all about sort of timing. You can get in, switch those tyres, and get back out. But you have to be confident that you're going to nail that flying lap, because you are probably only going to get 1, maybe 2, if you're very good at warming your tyres.
Yeah, exactly that. In terms of pit stop strategies themselves, I believe there is only 1 mandatory driver change for pit stop that needs to happen through the race. Tyres themselves, they have got a higher form of tyre degradation on them, so they are going to run out much faster than they would do in real life to aggravate that need for a pit stop through the race.
Which makes it interesting for us and the viewers at home, obviously.
Exactly. In terms of fuel wear, they have got fuel wear as well, but the tanks are so large they won't actually need to refuel during the race. So there will be no need to pit for fuel. It will purely be the tyres. So when you get to the end of the race, that's where you start to see the quick times come in, because they've got an empty tank of fuel. They've only got so the car's very light. They'll have had their new set of tyres put on midway through the race, and the track's covered in rubber. That's where you're going to see some quick times.
That's interesting as well, because all of a sudden they're having to be dealing with light cars. They're having to deal with tyres that, last couple of laps will be a bit on the way out, shall we say. And you're going to get that sort of rotation of the rear end, because it's going to be a whole different driving experience when you're coming up to that second corner, rotate the car around. As soon as you put that power down, it's going to be different to how you put the power down 5 laps ago. And that's why the top lads in this are very good sim racing drivers.
Yeah, definitely so. And, you know, they've always shown that sort of level of skill out there, seeing them through the season. And you'll watch them today with just how clean they are as they go through the track. There's a camera of the venue that you can see there, and there is the army of Cam Sport.
Shocked they're all stood together as well, discussing tactics, I imagine.
They do go in herds. That's what it's a herd of Cam Sport sim racers, that is.
They're instantly recognisable, though, at least, aren't they?
Yeah, all in team colours. Other teams in here as well. You can see them there just in the background as well. Other teams taking part, but Cam Sport definitely one of the bigger of the teams out there. Matt just got sporting the number 44, same as Hamilton. There you go.
Yeah.
Was
that intentional, do you think? Is Hamilton a bit of a hero, do you reckon?
Maybe.
Maybe we can speak to him a bit later and ask him about that.
Yeah, ask him about the 44. But yeah, obviously, Matt there, he's the tallest man in the world. He's much taller than me.
Oh, finally someone who's a reasonable height and is a racing driver, is that what you mean?
Yeah, basically. So, I mean, well, I'm 5'10". Matt
That's true.
Over 6 foot.
Yeah, no, as a racing driver, I think the sim world's probably where he would probably fit quite easily in.
Well, I say there's still those elements in actual motorsport because each class has a weight limit to it as well.
True,
so every car must
and Matt Neal,
to a
he's
race.
very tall, famous touring car driver, and he's been around for years.
Yeah, so. Exactly that. So, yeah, you can... it doesn't really matter about that, of course, but yeah, definitely so in sim racing. It is all about skill, circuit knowledge, and how you can control the car.
Absolutely. I think clearly the way he's climbed himself up the championship, consistency is key. I think he's definitely going to be someone who keep himself out of trouble, will be at that top end, at the sharp end to score some points, and hopefully, at the end of the day, if it's a straight shootout between Matt and Luke, it's whoever wins between those two.
Yes.
You know, as I said, Jack, we're having a seat. I think we're going into qualifying 2.
Yes, I think qualifying 2 is now underway. This is going to be the one to keep an eye on. This is some of the quicker guys that you'll see out there. And it's going to be an interesting qualifying on this one. There's going to be cars tripping over each other all the way through the track. It's not a private qualifier. that was another Jack that we saw there, admiring our little stream camera.
There's plenty of us around, isn't there? I think he thought he was commentating before when it got announced that I was commentating.
Yes, yeah, he just heard the word, "Oh, Jack is commentating," and he went, "Am I?"
Like, I think he was looking forward to it as well.
Yeah, not that Jack, the other Jack. But yeah, you can see there the venue there filled with competitors and spectators as well here in the venue, watching for qualifying. As you can see there, they've just been put onto track now in the garage, and they'll be pulling out very shortly. There they are, lined up at the exit. They've been told to wait at the moment. Red light on the pit exit. And it's now green, and drivers making their way out onto the circuit. The rubber hasn't fully rendered on the circuit, as you can see there. It has on the track, not in the pit lane. That's why those little black dots there you could see. There we go. But as we head out to the circuit, Jack Ashton, here he is. This is our man in P3 in the championship. 109 points to his name at the moment. He's looking for a race win this afternoon. Can he get that done? It's yet to be seen. Let's see what he does in qualifying, really.
Well, he needs to put it all on the line for qualifying because he needs to be in that position to potentially challenge for that race win. As I said, if you're looking at drivers, obviously we're looking at Jack Ashton now. You got Luke Bennett, you got Matt Godger-Smith. Yeah, all drivers to keep an eye out. That is a stunning car there from Luke Bennett. Look at that. It's McLaren-esque, that is, isn't it?
Yes, we dubbed this car the McCloudy, because it's an Audi DTM with the McLaren livery. So
I can see that. It's a very nice, attractive-looking car.
Yeah, it's that's the McCloudy. But yeah, Luke Bennett, again, our championship leader. 114 points behind him. And he, again, is, well, his main competition today is Matt Kudgiscott, I'd say. 113 points Matt Kudgiscott has got. In practice that we saw earlier on, Matt was struggling with the pace. He was running in P9 at the moment at that time.
He was, yeah.
Whether to see if he's going to pull something out the bag here for qualifying, but Bennett...
Oh, well, we don't... It'd be interesting to have a chat with him as well, because it might just be something about this circuit.
It might be, because, you know, Matt is very, very, very quick, and we've seen it before. Here's Matt Richards. This is the driver who's going to be putting the thorn in the side of these top 4.
Indeed he is.
He's only got 35 points after a win at Zandvoort last time around, and he's going to be working hard to see what he can do to shake this championship up, I would say.
He's going to do his best. I think that's pretty much the only thing we can promise from this this race is that he's going to be there and he's going to be shaking things up for sure.
Yep. You can see that racing line now on the circuit as they're going around. How how broad it is out there. That's where all the rubber is. That's where all the grip is. If you go off that into a braking zone, so meaning if you're diving down the inside into a corner, you're going to be completely offline and you're going to really struggle. Running wide there, you can see slightly. There's marbles on the edge of the circuit. Again, you really lose grip and you'll just absolutely run wide and go into the gravel.
It's not what you want to be doing. And you can see as you're going into the braking zone how the rubber gets darker as well, because the rubber's getting put down more into those braking zones. So if you're new to esports, then you can have a look. You can see where people are probably going to be hitting the brakes. You can see what the racing line is. And if you're watching at home thinking, how can I improve? Well, make sure you give these guys a watch, because they're definitely going to give you some tips just by watching them.
These guys are going to be showing you how it's done really out there. The normal racing line through the penultimate corner there. You can go over the pit entry line, of course, and that's what I mean. It's going to play havoc with teams running so close to each other.
Yep.
If one decides to go to the pit and has to commit to it, and second place wants to take the normal racing line, he's not going to be able to, because he's going to have to go around the outside.
It's going to be a bit. That would be track limits, I think. That sausage curve.
Yeah.
It will be a busy day for Mr. Chigurtha, I'm sure, in race control. I'm sure he'll approach it with calm demeanour as well, and everybody will be clear on what the rules are.
I'll put it this, I'm glad I'm not him today.
Yeah, I think it's. I'd prefer to be in our little comfy sofa / studio, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely, 100%. That's where I'd want to be, and that's where I am.
Yeah,
so,
and you can already see Luke Bennett hitting an early low 23s as well. So obviously we're looking at 22s is probably around the ultimate pace that we're going to be seeing from this qualifying session, as we did from the previous one. And Luke Bennett has already put a good attempt at scoring those low 23s. This is Christian Kelly. He's got a 23.2, so he's not far off in second place as well, just a 2.5 tenths. And I'm guessing they're going to be having a few flying laps coming in soon.
Yeah, well, definitely, I would say so. And of course, that's where we'll see the pit stop phase come in as well in qualifying. Some of these drivers, they are going to pit probably only once. You won't see them do it more than that. But that's definitely one that we're going to see now. Other drivers in this list here, Kostas Avram, he's been very quick as well. He's always he's more in the mid-pack. He's definitely one of those guys controlling the mid-pack action. Chris Wilson, again, very, very quick competitor. He has been at the top end of the spectrum as well in some of these races. He's improved dramatically in his race craft and while he's been out there. I say that, commentator's curse right there.
Notice him wherever he is on the track is what I was going to say with that livery, but unfortunately you're going to notice him in the wall for the next couple of minutes.
For the next couple of seconds, yeah.
Here is Matt.
Yep, quite a few drivers in the pit lane as well. Matt Goodgescott, who we're watching, isn't one of those. He's just out of turn 2 at the moment, heading towards turn 3. And again, a heavy braking zone. Tricky braking zone for this one. It's downhill, so it's
I'm not a fan of this corner, to be honest. It's always hard it's always easy, to outbrake yourself.
It's very easy to outbrake yourself.
If you're going for a move, you better make sure you're hitting the brake at the right time, because it can be a big crash otherwise.
Yep, it's just about at that gantry as it goes over. That's roughly the braking zone in these cars. But of course, as the tyre wear goes on and the tyres get worse, that braking zone is going to get a little bit further away each time. And that's what these drivers are going to have to learn through there. So with Matt Goodgescott, his last time was a 1:23.3, and that was also his fastest time of there as well. He's 3 tenths off, and he's diving into the pit lane now.
There we go.
Yep, fresh set of boots for Matt Goodgescott then, as we cut towards Sean King now in the green and black. Very striking livery for this one. Ben Brown, he's also in the pit lane as well. Currently P7 at the moment for him. Personal best, 1:23.9 for Sean King at the moment. 9 tenths off. He's in P5 at the moment, but there's still plenty of time to try and improve that.
Yeah, as I was saying, we've banged on about Matt Richards being the thorn in the side. Currently 13th. Almost 3 seconds off. So
maybe he's thought, you know what, I'm going to keep out of these guys' way.
It'd be very polite.
It would be very polite. I mean, personally, I wouldn't have do that.
No,
I'd be right up there.
If he's a true racer, I'm sure that wasn't the. No. But we never know. He might stick some new boots on, might come out fighting.
Yes, well, we'll see. We'll see as the race goes on. Maybe he knows something again that we don't, but he's going to be working on that. Still a couple of drivers in the pit lane. Chris Wilson, Stuart French. I suspect Chris is in after his spin at turn 1. Fresh set of boots.
Yeah, it's understandable. You don't want to flat spot those tyres or anything.
You don't want to be driving on 50p coins, do you? But as these guys go through, everyone seems to be pretty close as well. Luke Bennett leading the way. Christian Kelly in P2. Matt Goodgescott P3 and Jack Ashton P4 as well. Now, in terms of the points, great for Luke Bennett, not good for Matt Goodgescott. Matt Goodgescott doesn't want Christian Kelly in his way. He wants to make sure that he gets past Luke Bennett.
As we were saying before, it's all about between those, like who finishes first on track.
Yes.
Yeah, they just need to beat each other, and then they need to worry about Jack Ashton. But as long as, you know, Goodger Scott, sorry, I think I keep making that mistake.
I used to do that.
Yeah, beats Bennett, then it's his championship again, all of a sudden. And
Yeah.
at 55 minutes, it's a long race to have those thoughts running through your head as you're in the lead.
Yeah, exactly that. And it does provide a bit of a train. The slipstream action that you get around this circuit as well is fantastic. And slipstream does take effect here. Back with Luke Bennett, your provisional pole sitter at the moment.
He's hit those 22s by the looks of it.
Yeah, he is into those 22s now. New fastest lap, 22.628. 4/10 or about 5/10 is the gap between him and Matt Richards at the moment for P2. Again, Goodger Scott going down into P4 now with Matt Richards putting that time in. He's come out of nowhere with those 3 seconds.
He obviously did know something we didn't.
Exactly, so he's just put in a 1:23 at the moment. A very low 1:23. But still very close. Actually, Christian Kelly's just responded. He's on the pace at the moment, 7/700ths of a second between those two now.
Christian Kelly is 4th in the championship.
Yeah.
So, you know, we haven't mentioned him that much because, as I said, we'd have to have a bit of a disaster for Matt and Luke and everyone like that, which doesn't look like it's happening in qualifying. But he's a good racer. He's clearly up at the sharp end.
He is indeed. Bit of a mistake there through turn 2, miles away from the apex, and got loose on the outside on that slippery stuff. Unable to get the power down, and that's going to have hindered this lap massively because, again, it's a long straight. You need a good exit out of turn 1. You need a good exit out of turn 2 as well.
Indeed, and you can tell because he's slowed up. He knew that lap was gone. No point wasting tyres. Let's try and get a flying lap in right at the end.
Yeah. No, exactly that. As he goes across the line here, Luke Bennett, our provisional pole sitter at the moment. Does he improve? He doesn't.
No,
so
2
that's
seconds off.
Yeah, 1:24 there that he's just put in. Matt Richards now, P3 because of Christian Kelly.
Worth noting, sorry to interrupt, Jack Ashton's just gone ahead of Matt. Goodger Scott.
He has indeed, yeah. Jack Ashton now up to P4, which is not looking good for Matt Goodger Scott. He's dropping down the positions. Victor Tizzon, he's just jumped up into 5th place as well. So Matt Goodger Scott's struggling on this circuit, and that is not good news for him, seeing as he's fighting for that lead. He needs to beat Luke Bennett today, and at the moment, it's not looking hopeful.
No, if I was Luke Bennett, I'd probably be quite happy. As it stands at the moment, you never know, Matt might bring it out, and I'm sure he'll be up there when it comes to the actual race as well. He's obviously shown that he's consistent, and he's quick, so maybe it'll just come together for him. Sometimes qualifying just doesn't go your way.
Sometimes that is correct, yeah. People can go much quicker in the race. That's generally how it goes for me, to be fair. I'm terrible in qualifying, but then for some reason I bring it back in the race. I don't know how I do it personally myself. So we have seen mistakes, though, from Luke Bennett in the past. We saw him make a mistake at Brands GP on the first corner, first lap. He went spinning around and went to the back of the grid.
Oh, wow.
And that's what really shook the points table up. Now, potentially, I never wish it upon someone.
No,
but, you know,
we would never wish it, but if it happened, it would make an interesting watch.
You know, it would make it incredibly interesting. Yellow's out in Sector 1 at the moment. That'll be due to a spin, most likely. That's generally why yellow flags tend to come out.
That's interesting because qualifying is actually done on a private track. Each driver has their own private session.
So the guys won't actually see each other.
No.
But they're all on track at the same time. So it prevents anyone having a kind of moment. Checker flag is being waved. So checker flag is out. So these guys will be on their final laps if they have come in. So Matt Goodger Scott, he's pitted early. He's not going to have any time to improve. P6.
No, he's decided that's all he's going to get out of the car and all he's going to get out of the track for this qualifying session. Maybe he's toasted the tyres. He might have had a lock-up. But it's going to be interesting to see how he copes in the race because the likes of Luke Bennett, that's a long way ahead. Christian Kelly's done well, and Matt Richards, as we said, not really in the championship, but sticking his nose in where it quite clearly belongs.
Quick and could shake the tables up again still. You know,
I'm sure
he
it will.
If he jumps in there and makes a mistake or anything like that, or pushes Luke Bennett down, you know, if anything, there you go, qualifying finishing now as the cars just decide to float off the circuit. Back with us now in our nice... So you look comfy there. Yeah, you
Sorry, the camera was off me, so I thought I'd get a bit more comfortable. Sorry about that.
There we go. No, not a problem at all. If you do have any comments and you want to get in touch with us, of course, head over to Facebook. The comment section on Facebook, I believe, is working. I don't think it is working on YouTube at the moment, so we do apologise for that. Again, you can send messages personally to myself on Instagram at Anthony_Jordan Official. Drop me a message on there. My phone's just behind me. I'll feel it, yeah, we'll get your comments in on
I've
that one
got
as
some
well.
Instagram notifications. I'll just check if there's anything. Nope, nothing relevant to the stream.
No.
Apologies about that. I'll put that over there.
No, just someone trying to sell me pizza. That's the only notifications I get. But yeah, no, great stuff that we've seen from qualifying. Makes for an interesting theory, really. So, Matt Goodger-Scott, anything can happen in the race, of course, but it's just not looking likely at the moment.
It's not how he would have dreamt it to be going last night. In terms of what he could get out of the race, you just said it before, 55 minutes. That's a long race. And I know some of our viewers might be mainly endurance fans, which is fair enough, but 55 minutes compared to a 6-hour race is a lot shorter.
Yeah.
And as you said, Luke Bennett at Brands Hatch GP had a moment in turn 1. He could have a moment again. He could have someone who's just really keen to get through him.
Yeah.
Hopefully we don't see any, rubbing is racing, but anything more is obviously not something we want to see. But Matt could just... Sorry.
You carry on.
Could, take advantage of that.
Yeah, he definitely so. Are you wanting to join in with us? You're here. Take a seat.
Yeah.
Take a seat. Mr. Bennett, take a seat.
And you get my microphone.
Excellent. So, Luke, fantastic effort from you. On the front, are you happy with that?
I'm not on the front.
Are you not?
The track got deleted. My lap got deleted.
Oh, drama. Well, there we go. Well, that's what we were talking about, that we can't see laps being deleted. So, sorry about that. Just first thought. So, where have you actually qualified now?
So apparently I'm in 5th, but
Right.
behind my championship rival Jack, I'm 3 thousandths behind him now.
Right. Okay. So, in terms of times, very, very, very close.
Very close.
Going into that, in terms of strategy then, going into turn 1, because turn 1's a tricky corner. It's very tight. It's borderline 90-degree, and, with those track limits looming on you, you kind of want to be on the inside of that turn, really, don't you?
Yeah, really, but going into that corner on that lap, I braked a little bit late. I thought I might be able to get through. Took a bit too much curb on the inside. After that, it just...
It ran off.
Put me over to over the yellow curb, and that was it.
It is harsh track limits, but of course it's the same rule for everyone out there. And of course we did see times from the previous qualifying they did get deducted as well. And it is a tricky one. I know that it's very tempting to go much faster through some of those corners and just run a little bit over those yellow curves. But of course anything like that and race control's on you. And unfortunately it's happened.
Pole would have been amazing because 1 point in the lead. I need to be up there. So I'm still top 5, so I should be okay.
No, you should be fine. And of course, any recovery from there is what you want to see. And it'll be a fantastic race, I think.
Yeah, I know not to give up after the first 2 rounds, so.
Yeah, no, exactly that. No, excellent stuff. Well, best of luck for the race. And
Thank you.
we look forward to seeing you start out there and watch out for those track limits.
I'll try.
Good man. Luke Bennett there. No, great stuff. Hopefully we'll get to talk to a few more drivers. We'll get some over.
I'll stay here just in case.
Yeah, you keep shooeying over, anything like that.
Well, looks like we've got the official qualifying results now.
Official results. The top 3 from B go to A. Is that what that says? Excellent. Yes, I thought that's what that meant. Oh, excellent. Yes. So, okay. It's very official. That I've got here. Right. Okay. So what I've got here for the... Let's go from the B final first then. So qualifying on pole for the B final, we have Stuart French. He's qualifying on pole. Then it is Costas Avram in 2nd place. Chris Wilson in 3rd. Ben Davis in 4th. Ben Bennyworth in 5th. Marcus Trofimov is in 6th place, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's not numbers, it just says 18 next to them, so I do apologise. 7th place, Colin Talbot. Then Dan McCauley in 8th place and Richard Charlesworth in 9th. 10th place, Peter Villar. Then it's David Brabham in 11th place. Stephen Burton in 12th. Sean Newton in 13th. Jack Churchman in 14th, and Lewis Higgs in 15th place. That is going to be the V final. The top 3 from that one go through to the A, of course.
Is it the top 3 now?
Top 3, yes. So there's 12 people who are in the A final already.
Right, okay.
The top 3 go through to the A final.
To make it a full 15.
Make it a full 15 grids, yeah. So we've got 2 full 15 grids out for you today, so it's going to be nice and busy. But yeah, that's going to be an interesting one for that one. In terms of the actual overall qualifying results for the A final as well, let's go over that. Starting on pole for the A final is your 4th place person in the championship, Christian Kelly. Then it's Matt Webb in 2nd place.
Very well done.
Matt Richards in 3rd, Jack Ashton in 4th, Luke Bennett in 5th, who we were just talking to there. Then it's Ivan Berretts in 6th, Edmund in 7th place, Victor in 8th place, Matt Gudgescott all the way in 9th place. It's going to be a tall one.
For him,
no, not looking good. Ben Brown is starting in 10th. Nikita in 11th place and Sean King in 12th. Now, they're all going through straight away to the A final, so they're not going to be taking part in this first race that we're going to have out there. It will be the first 15 that I read out. The top 3 from that go through to the A final. We'll leave those there. You can see sort of times. But yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. Let's talk to Matt. You're hiding in the background there, Matt. Yeah, I want to talk to you.
He doesn't look very happy that you called him over either.
I want to talk to you, Matt. No, over there.
Go on, have a seat. You can take my microphone, don't worry.
Over there. Right, Matt. You are 2nd place in the championship, and you've qualified 9th.
Not on the track, though.
What's going on?
I just wasn't comfortable, to be honest. My first run was okay. First lap was a kind of a banker. Knocked half second off for the second run. And then when he got new tyres, came back out, just tried to be a hero really into turn 2, both times. So, so all on me. But
so was it track limits that?
No. So the first one I caught the curb in the braking zone and it just dragged me straight on.
Right.
And then so I obviously been that lap off, just drove round, make sure I got the second one in. And then the second one I braked, turned in, was a little bit wide, but then as I put the power down, it just lost traction on the back end, and I'm surprised you didn't get it on stream because you normally do when it happens a moment like that.
We usually get your crashes,
I just
don't we?
avoided a 360 on the exit turn 2. So
no, it is a tough circuit. This one, it looks quite.
It's
easy.
very simple.
Yeah, it looks easy, but it's not. It is one of those difficult ones. But like I say, the rest of your Cam Sport guys doing well. Christian Kelly,
is he on pole?
Pole.
Nice.
You know. And he's 4th in the championship at the moment.
He's
going to be shaking it up. Yeah. Maybe we're looking at a Cam Sport 2's in front of you. Yeah, it could be him twisting it.
Yeah, I think I need to be somewhere in the top sort of 4 or 5 to even to stay on the podium. So we'll see. See if I can survive turn 1 and the ensuing chaos.
Well, it's a 55-minute race. There's plenty of time to get up that order. And of course,
definitely.
We see in the DTM Championship, it's so close through the top guys when they all clump together and get going at the start. Everyone seems to be on the pace, and of course, they want to look after their tyres. So, yes, okay, we see some blisteringly quick times in qualifying, but when it actually gets to the race itself, everyone's a little bit more cautious, a bit more reserved, looking after the tyres to try and get those to last as long as possible. I think at the start, you're going to try and gain as many positions as you can, really, I think.
Yeah, I think it's trying to find, some clean air so you can just work your own race after that. But I think turn 1's always a challenge around here.
Turn 1's always interesting, isn't it?
So
turn 2's the more interesting
turn
one
1,
here, though.
turn 2, turn 3.
Turn 3.
Then it'll settle down a bit.
Yeah. I think after the first 3 corners, it's it is one of those. But
so just try and keep out of trouble, see where we go.
No, excellent stuff. Thank you very much. Matt from Cam Sport qualifying.
Thank you very much.
P9, second in the championship, though, at the moment. We've got the rest of the Cam Sport crew here. Sean, do you want to have a quick chat with us? Yeah, come on,
He looks
Sean.
keen.
You look keen. Another Cam Sport aficionado. Yeah, another.
I think we just worked through the Cam Sport team.
One of the rules to be in the Cam Sport team is you have to be over 6 foot. So
unless your name's Chris Wilson.
Unless you're Christian. Yeah, unless you're Christian. So, Sean, qualifying P12, but you're in the A final.
Literally just.
Yeah. If we look at the gaps
300ths of a second.
Ooh, yeah.
And I learned from Stuart that he actually backed out of the last corner to make it safe. And if he hadn't backed out, he would have beat me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so look at him. Look, he's smiling at me now over here, but he hates himself.
Oh, dear.
I'm sure you'll make it through, Stuart. You'll make it through the B final.
We're speaking to you next then. So, excellent. But, yeah. So, no, with the circuit, obviously, you took part in the 24 hours here, did you?
I did, yes. Yeah.
You did. So, a lot of the drivers here have got quite a bit of experience around this circuit.
Bit different car, though. The
It is a
LMP
bit
is
of a
not the
different
same
car.
as DTM.
Yeah, of course. Well, yeah. But the LMP car, of course, the LMP2, a high downforce car, same with the DTM, a little bit more downforce, of course, on the P2, but you know, still, it's a little bit of help around this circuit. You would have thought everyone would be a little bit more on par in pace.
Yeah, I'm not that good.
Yes, you are. You beat me. So there we go. But like I say, starting at the back is probably the best place to start, I would say.
But I'm not going to be at the back. I'm going to have like the people coming from the B final, and obviously Stuart's going to be out for blood.
That's
after
true.
that,
You are going to have a couple of guys behind you, but at that lower end of the field.
I don't know. I kind of hope they all kill each other at the first corner, but at the same time, I want it to be a nice race.
Yes.
So it's kind of a situation where
you're hoping to be an absolute cluster at turn one.
Yeah, but
then you're also
that's my
hoping
head.
that it isn't like that.
But my heart's like, come on, let's have a really nice race.
Let's have a
with
good
everyone
race.
being really close together.
Exactly.
I still think the B final is going to be exactly the same. The top like 6 guys in the B final are all going to be right up there racing for those last 3 slots.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably the first time we've had a situation where we're going to have only 3 drivers can go through, and to be honest, there's a lot more people than 3 drivers that are going to be up there fighting for it.
Yeah.
Usually you know who's going to make it through. This time it's really different.
It's you don't quite know. Apologies if you can't hear us at the moment. That's Michael Yao over the PA system in the venue. We can't really hear myself talking, so hopefully you can at home. But we are going to be getting the first race underway very, very, very shortly. It's going to be an interesting one. Thank you, Sean King, for joining us in our nice sofa area. I'm sure you're going to be keeping an eye on this race. No, you're not? You're just going to go run away and wait for your race. Okay, excellent. You're going to run away.
Fair enough, thank you very mumuch.
And wait for your race.
Cheers.
Thank you very much for talking with us. I still can't hear myself talking.
I can't hear you either, to be honest.
Because Mike's over the PA venue. Oh, I think he's stopped now.
Yeah, that's
there
all
we go.
right.
We can hear ourselves talking now. So apologies if you couldn't hear us at home. Shot at the venue there. As you can see, the guys getting themselves ready. Colin from Camsport there putting his thumb up. He's starting in P7, I believe. I'm going to do some child school counting here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7. So he's starting in 7th place at the moment. Again, one of the Camsport guys, he's got some work to do to try and get up that field as well.
It's amazing how many of them are around, isn't it? I mean, every other driver you seem to talk about is Camsport.
Yeah, they all flood around here. They're hoping for an interview. They're hoping get some time, get the Camsport name on the camera. And unfortunately, I always agree with them and put it up. Here we go.
Oh, yeah, there we are. Say hello.
As soon as I say it. So great bunch of guys, though. Kind of quick as well.
By the looks of it, we're getting slightly set up for the B final.
Yes, B final. The guys have taken their seats. They're going to be jumping on track very soon. So stick around, and we will get this race underway. Of course, it's going to be an interesting one. I'm going to need to try and take some water as much as I can through all this.
I think so, because a 55-minute race, you're going to have a drink or two beforehand.
Have to hydrate through this one. It's rather important not to get the noise of it in the microphone there.
It's amazing, really, as well, because I'll just speak whilst you're doing this, don't worry. If you're in a B final as well, you've just done your qualifying session. You might have done it previously, obviously, but you get a short break now, you go into the B final, and then if you come in the top 4, you get a short break where you go into the A final. It's an awful lot of racing.
Yes, so, yeah, if you're in this A final and you come to the top 3, you've got an hour and 10 minutes of racing to get through, back-to-back, high-stress racing.
Exactly, because if you're at the top end of this B final, it's stress from start to finish, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you're going to be you're going to be desperate to get into that A final. And then as soon as you're in the A final, you want to do as well as possible. But you're tired from doing it before. So we're hoping those guys take on a bit of water. And let's hope they get some high racing.
There will be a bit of a transition gap through the B race and that. They will have time to, rehydrate themselves, which will be the main thing. It's not that hot in the venue. It's actually quite nice. It's quite a nice ambient temperature in the venue as well. It's only when it gets to the summertime,
I can imagine
sun bearing down on the roof, and it gets a bit of an oven in here with all the computers running, as you can imagine. With that many sims in here, it's
definitely, and plus just everyone getting all into the competitive nature of it all as well. It's hard to chill out at a real race day or even at a sim race day or anything. That competitive nature, these guys want to win. They're going to be up for it.
Exactly that. I think the guys are going to be heading onto the grid in just a moment. I believe they have a formation lap to start as well, so it will be a formation standing start. They will head out onto the grid. They'll drive off, warm their tyres up, stop on the grid, and we'll get 55 minutes of racing underway. There they are there on the grid, all lined up there, ready to go. 15 cars on this one. They're going to be starting their formation lap in just a moment. Again, you can see track hasn't rendered that rubber in yet. That will soon disappear, and we'll get that nice crisp racing line on the circuit. It just hasn't rendered in yet.
Absolutely
it's just
not.
marbles all over the circuit.
No, that's fine at the moment. Oh, yeah, formation lap, of course. I was going to say that is a bit of an early start there by Chris Wilson. But, yeah, there's a couple of good-looking cars out on track as well. Very noticeable cars. Obviously, Costas with that pink and white. You got Stuart French that we're looking at now. Slightly, I can't remember. What did Jenson Button win the F1 championship in?
Brawn.
I think that's slightly brawn-looking car with that white and green there.
It just reminds me of a lime for some reason. I don't know why. Every time I see that car, I just think of a lime.
Well, as long as it makes you remember it, then it's clearly doing its job, I suppose,
that's
isn't it?
the lime car. That's how I go with it. Chris Wilson in third place, the very striking livery that we're looking at now. One of the Cam Sport teams as well, looking to get up into that top 3 and get as many Cam Sport cars into that A final and get those points.
That's the aim of the team, isn't it?
That's the aim of the team, is to try and get as many cars up that grid as much as possible. Ben Davis in 4th place for him. Cracking qualifying from him. Then it's Ben Bennyworth in 5th place, the red car with the white stripe. Keep a very close eye on him. Very quick driver. Marcus in P6 with Colin Talbot just behind him. Again, another red car, but with the Cam Sport livery. Dan McCauley in 8th place. Then it's Richard Charlesworth in 9th place. Peter Villar, he's in 10th place, rounding out top 10 right behind him, and I wouldn't like this person behind me racing.
Absolutely
if I'm really
not.
on it. David Brabham. That's a big name in motorsport.
If you're sat on the grid and you look over and you think, David Brabham behind me, you're thinking, I best make it through this first corner and get away from him, because if he's close to you, he'll make the move.
Well, yeah, I know. And, the fact that, David's raced at the likes of Bathurst,
incredible CV.
Bathurst, he's raced in Formula One, he's raced in the Petit Le Mans series at Sebring and everything like that. He's raced in pretty much everything from.
It's an incredible CV, and I can't wait to see what he does in this race.
No, exactly. Looking forward to it. Behind him, we've got Stephen Burton in 12th place. Then it's Sean Newton in 13th, Jack Churchman in 14th, and Lewis Higgs rounding out your 15-car grid for this final round of the DTM Championship. You see the cars lining themselves up on the grid, and we're going to get...
people laying quite far back there.
There they are, yeah. We're going to get this B race underway in just a moment. It's going to be a fantastic one. The top 3 from this one, of course, will head through to the A final, and this is going to be the one that matters. The top 3 is where you want to be. No points in this one, though, but it will be, of course, who can get to the top. The final of the cars just lining up on the grid. I think that's the reason why the start has been a little bit delayed, and this is going to be playing havoc for those guys at the front, working hard, warming those tyres up. But we've got the lights. 3 red lights are on. Green lights, and we're away racing. It's a little bit of a wheel spin off the line for Costas Avram, but he gets away well. Stuart French immediately cutting across the front to block that inside line. Chris Wilson again defending from the blue car behind him of Ben Davis. They all get through turn 1. A little bit of contact between Costas and Chris Wilson, but all get through turn 1 well.
Yeah, it's going 3 abreast a bit further back into that turn 1 as well, as we see Stuart French just streaking away, as we see, is that Chris Wilson?
It is, yeah, Chris Wilson down the inside.
Bennyworth.
Yep, down the inside of Ben Bennyworth.
That's close. What will track limit saying? Who's that?
That, oh crikey, who was that? That was
Davis?
It was, I think, Ben Davis, who's dropped down now into 5th place. Yeah, so that was a huge disaster from Ben. Not sure what happened for him, but he's dropped down the order now into P5 as we still look at Chris Wilson in P4 at the moment. He's got 6 tenths between him and the guys in front, working hard to keep track of Ben Bennyworth, who's managed to pull up into 3rd place. This is where we start to see that train effect come into place. Here's a replay of what happened down the inside, and that was not ideal from Ben Davis. So early on in the race, trying to look for that inside gap. It was a good attempt, but not quite made it done there. Here's Chris Wilson on the back of Ben Bennyworth. Now he's going to be looking down the inside here into the penultimate corner. This is a tricky corner to make that move done. It's very fast, and he slots back behind. Kind of suffers there, and now he's under pressure from Ben Davis just behind him. Again, it's a bit of a Cam Sport sandwich here, isn't it?
Yeah, Ben Davis and Colin Talbot, by the looks of it, he's going to be interested in getting in this fight as well, because the more Chris Wilson fights, the slower he'll be, and Ben Bennyworth is just going to pull away and try and bring in Costas.
Talbot down the inside into turn 1, tried to make the move done, completely cut off the nose from Ben Davis. He said, no thanks, not yet. You'll have to wait. I'm going after Chris. As we go up the hills, there is yellows in sector 1. I'm not sure what's caused that, but was it Colin? Yeah, Colin has gone down. So that move that he made, he's lost the back end and it's gone down.
That's a big dive.
It is a nice big dive there from Chris. Chris on the inside of Ben Bennyworth. Yes, Ben Davis has lost the back end as well. This is the one that we're looking at, though. It's neck and neck into turn 3 of the braking zone. Who's going to brake later? It's Chris Wilson down the inside of Ben Bennyworth. Who brakes later? It's Chris Wilson. A little bit of a lockup. Is he going to run wide? No, he holds on to it. Great move from Chris Wilson. Moves up into P3. Fantastic move. Here's the replay. Talk us through what happened here.
Well, he goes through, and you can sort of see he just loses it. He clips that inside curve just a little bit too much, and he just, unfortunately, turns himself round.
Yeah, not ideal there from Colin Talbot, and, of course, recovering as well. He scrubbed all that rubber off his rear tyres, trying to recover quickly. That's not going to help his tyre wear for the remainder of this race. He might have to pit early for a new set of tyres. As we go through then, the rest of the drivers go through. We're nearing the end of lap 2.
All this drama means that Stuart French has actually pulled off a 3.7 second gap.
Yep.
Can't even see him in the shot.
Yep, you can't see him in the shot. Stuart French has gone. We're currently looking at 2nd and 3rd here. You can see him off there in the distance, but the train back here. This is playing into Stuart French's hands here early on to this race, and already with that huge gap. But Chris Wilson's going to be wanting to fight back pretty quickly, I would say.
I imagine he'll want to get into 2nd as quickly as possible. As we've been saying all throughout the stream, there's a 55-minute race. You know, we want to be making sure that you're getting into the rhythm, you're running your race, and I think that's what we'll see now. Each person is going to be just getting into the rhythm and keep putting those lap times in.
Yep, there we go. Clock's just appeared in the top corner there. 51 minutes to go. It was there we go. Thankfully, the guys there put that up for us. That's going to make it a lot easier for us and for you guys at home as well watching. Be very interesting to see that one. As we look further back the grid, here's Richard Charlesworth, currently running in P8. He's had a great start to his race. He's up a few positions there, and he is got the gap there. 7 tenths between him and 7th place of David Brabham. He's going to be that's going to be a tough driver to overtake.
Here is David Brabham, in fact, as we keep on board with the black and white and red. He's about a second off the gap, the car ahead, but I'm sure he'll be hoping to chase that down. By the looks of it, if I can just find him, Marcus is going to be fighting the car ahead of him, so maybe David can get in on that action a bit later on.
Well, hopefully so. We'll see the gaps if they try and improve. Here is the recovering Colin Talbot in P14 at the moment. It's not where he wanted to be, as he is trying to get past the man in front of Lewis Higgs in 13th place. I quite like Lewis's livery, actually. It's quite a nice stealthy, harsh livery there. It's quite nice. I like it.
Very attractive, but I don't think he's going to be... well, I think Colin's going to pass him. Oh, he's having a look, isn't he? I think that was going to be slightly ambitious there.
Well, I think Colin's just trying to pile on the pressure on him. I don't think he was actually going for a move. They're just saying, you know, here I am, I'm right behind you. I want to get past. I am quicker than you. And we'll see when he's going to do it. It did sacrifice his line slightly with the exit speed.
I think the problem with that tactic is I'm sure he'll know that he's there already, and it's whether or not he can get close enough. But as I say that, he's close enough now, and he goes back to the inside for turn 3.
Yep, it's a great exit out of turn 2, and again, it's going to be who brakes later. We saw it happen earlier on with Chris Wilson and Ben Bennyworth. Who's going to brake later this time? Is it again going to be the Cam Sport car who does? Yes, he does, but has he braked too late?
He's gone deep.
And run wide? No, he's going to have to give that one another go. That's not how you do it there. So the Cam Sport guy's watching on. And, yeah, that's not going to be ideal for Colin.
Easy corner to do that, though. As we were saying before, when you're going down the hill, it's so easy to outbrake yourself. You've got to be really making sure that you're hitting the brakes at exactly the right time, especially if you're off the rubber.
Yeah, exactly that. Here's your race leader at the moment, Stuart French. He's got a gap of 4.3 seconds to the guys behind. And here's Colin Talbot going for that second move again. Gets it done this time into the penultimate corner. Good stuff. Does he run wide onto the track limits? No, he doesn't through the penultimate corner and stays clear up there. But the driver behind, though, Lewis Higgs, I'm sure race control will be giving him a warning soon for that one, as that is not what you want to be doing. Back with your race leader.
Super smooth move, though, wasn't it?
It was
really?
very,
quite
very
hard
smooth.
to say that.
Yeah, super smooth. There we go. Back with your race leader then, Stuart French, all on his own. He's going to be liking that, I suspect, because he doesn't have to battle anyone. Doesn't have to.
5 laps in, you're 4.3 seconds ahead. I can't imagine anybody who wouldn't like that, especially such a pressured situation that he'll probably be feeling right now. Being in the B final, he'll want to be in that A final. He might feel that he doesn't deserve to be here. and he's going to make that point.
Well, yeah, exactly. He's going to try and work hard to try and get into that A final and try shake things up at the backfield of that one. Here is the guys just further behind. 4th place of Ben Bennyworth in that striking red livery. The sort of identical livery behind, but just green, is Dan McCauley in 5th place, working hard again. And here is Marcus. This is a tricky final name to say. I apologise if I get it wrong. Trofimov, I think it is. So, but running in 6th place at the moment. The nice grey livery. And then David Brabham there, dancing with the track limits.
Oh, and that is track
corners.
limits, I would say.
That's 2 strikes in 2 corners. One more, and that's going to be a penalty for David Brabham. He doesn't want that.
It's lining up to be a fantastic race though between this top 6. Obviously, we've got Stuart who's enjoying himself at the front, but 2nd to 6th or 7th, if you include David in that, which you can because he is still within touching distance. It's lining up to be a good race. As soon as we had to bolt new tyres on, remember? There's a mandatory pit stop. That's going to shake things up. It
will indeed. On board now with David Brabham. Nice shot here of the front wheel. You see the compression in the tyres as it goes through some of the corners there of the Hankook tyres. You can see that support this series out there, and it's fantastic going into this corner to see that sort of camera angle and the suspension working hard around here.
Yeah, and as it has to, the undulations between the first half of the circuit going all that uphill to get into that 3rd corner where you're going downhill, sort of downhill for the rest of the circuit really until you hit the penultimate corner. It's suspension really gets a workout, and the tyres, the degradation, just leaning on the tyres so much on the tyre wall, really hurting them a lot.
Yeah, it's kind of a mix and match in terms of corners, in terms of tyre wear in the front as well. You know, you've got a lot of right-handers, you've got a couple of left-handers as well, but the left-handers are very fast left-handers, so it puts a lot of pressure on the front right.
They are indeed, and it's a quite good circuit for both sets of tyres, but as you say, a lot of fast aerodynamic corners, which is why these cars are so good at this track.
Yeah, here's a replay then of Ben Davis again. That was earlier on P15. Oh no, I think this is Jack Churchman actually, sorry.
That'll be why we had a yellow in Sector 1, I think.
Yes, so that was a spin here. Now, is this a run on Dan McCauley at the moment on Ben Bennyworth? Looking to the inside. No, can't quite do it. Ben Bennyworth running very deep under brakes. Track limits there for Dan McCauley in the green car. He's going to have to watch out on that one. But that is not what Ben Bennyworth wanted. Too late on the brakes there, almost collecting the back of Chris Wilson into turn 2. Thankfully managing to get round. The line there much better from Dan McCauley there. He's working hard to try and close that gap on Chris Wilson, and I think it's working.
He looks like he's bedded himself into this race well. He's certainly handled it. He's getting to the apex better than the others. He's not outbraking himself. He's keeping it calm in there, and it's really working well for him. It's a shame for Ben, obviously, going from 3rd to 5th, but that's what happens if you outbrake yourself at that corner.
Exactly that. Back with the recovering Colin Talbot in P13 now. He's got 12th place all over him. Steve Burton in front. He's going to try and get past there as soon as possible. He's got a nice line here. Dices with the track limits again, switches to the inside. And down the inside for the penultimate corner. Nice move from him. Under pressure again from the driver behind. And that was almost a nice collision there as we catch the rest of these guys up. Richard Charlesworth, again, dancing with the track limits. These guys are getting very close. Colin's going to want to get past these guys very quickly. He's going to look to the inside here at turn 1. He thinks for it. Under braking, down the inside, kind of close to the door. They both stick within track limits, and doesn't look like there was any contact. Well, that was very close, wasn't it?
It was actually extremely good racing and driver awareness. You can see Colin, he's putting the car completely on the limit through that back section. He's going to line up the car in front now. Can we see it? He's going to dive up the inside. He's going to give it a go. Oh, and they've touched. They've touched. Well, it's interesting to see what the race controls say, whether he got the door closed on him or whether he wasn't really there to be taken.
Here's a replay of what happened earlier on. The two teammates taking each other out.
That's not ideal, is it?
That's definitely not ideal, which is why we suddenly saw them close up on that battle. And you saw there as they go through, there was a bit of turning across each other into turn 2. I'm sure Race Control are looking at that, but Collins managed to get in front of Richard now. Next on his list is Sean Newton in the car in front, but this is a great recovery drive from Colin Talbot at the moment.
Yeah, he's putting it, as you say, this section you can tell he's putting the car completely under load. He's really throwing everything at it. I can't imagine what his tyres are complaining about right now, but You know, he's making the job. That is an extremely track limits, bit of contact. We'll see what the opinion there of the race controllers, but he has got through on the track at the moment. So he's going to be chasing down the car in front, Colin Talbot, on this recovery race.
Yep, so I just had in my ear that there's a first and final warning for contact and turning in for Richard Charlesworth with the contact with Colin Talbot through turn 2. So
I'll be honest, I can understand that.
Yep.
It was a bit of a closed-door situation. He left it open, then didn't want to concede that one.
Well,
but
I think it was completely unaware that Colin was there, I think.
Perhaps it was a long way back. It was a big dive.
It was.
Ambitious.
Yep, Colin is now up into P10. And that is a great move from him through turn 2 now, managing to get through that. He's been pushing that car hard, and he's probably working those tyres, as you say, fairly hard. Yes,
I imagine so. I'm just having a look at the leaderboard as well, and Dan McCauley's actually dropped behind Ben Bennyworth. So, as I was saying, and congratulating Dan for being such a consistent and betting himself into the race, Ben's actually had him back. So it'll be interesting if we cut to see them later in the race, see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see that as we get to the pit stop phase. Now, the interesting thing, Stuart French is not managing to pull away now from Costavrum. That gap has stayed the same, 4.3 seconds. It's not moved. Yeah,
it'd be interesting to do, if we hear from Stuart after this race, to see whether he was just maintaining that gap and trying to see his tyres and make sure they're good until that stop, or if he's just ruined the tyres at the beginning. But the fact that Costas is not catching him makes me think he's controlling that gap and he's in charge of this race.
Yeah, I'd definitely say you're probably right in that one. Again, just looking after the tyres, trying to get to that checker flag and look after them as much as possible. He's not had to really use them much, has he? He's not had much fighting.
As races go, he's clearly got the pace. He hasn't had much of a challenge. Good start off the line. Nothing to complain about with Stuart at the moment. He's driven a fantastic race. That's Ben Bennyworth getting overtaken by Dan again on the inside of turn 3.
Yep,
Dan goes to the inside, and he makes the braking zone, and he makes the apex. That is a good move by Dan McCauley right there. This giving Chris Wilson a chance to pull away.
Yeah, very, very good move from him as well. And we see they're kind of fluctuating. I think it's been, I get past, I do well, make a little mistake, you get back past, and then I think it's kind of running on that way. So it kind of looks like they're working together, but I feel like they're dropping back more than anything.
Well, I think they are dropping back, fighting so hard. The drafting, the getting a toe of the driver in front might have a big impact as well. The fact that they can keep making those moves on each other. But at the moment, Chris is happy, I imagine. Chris Wilson, he's pleased. He's going to try and just focus on keeping with Costas. But at the end of the day, to get into the IE final, all he needs is third. He's happy for Dan and Ben to mess around behind him.
Exactly that. Colin Talbot's next driver on his list is Peter Villar in 9th place as we go. 40 minutes on the clock remaining now. 15 minutes have passed already, and they've flown by, I have to say. 15 minutes flown by already. Only 40 minutes left of the race as Colin's trying to get up those positions as best as he can from his original qualifying spot. Where was Colin originally?
Oh, we've had a bit of a touch there. That was David Brabham touching... I can't see who that is.
So it was David Brabham on the chap just behind him.
Marcus
Trofimov. Yeah.
Just touching him wide at turn 2 and has managed to make that move through. But I think there was a bit of a push to pass, perhaps, suggested.
A bit. Well, I'm sure race control will be keeping a very close eye on that one, and I'm sure we'll see a replay.
Oh no, who's that?
And that is Colin Talbot. Yep. So it may be a move that he tried to make on Peter Villar through turn 3.
He hasn't dropped any positions, I don't think.
He's not dropped any positions, no. But it's he's not gained anything though, has he? So
he's dropped about 2 seconds, unfortunately, for Colin.
No, definitely so. It's a huge shame. He was on a great run there, and again, those mistakes. They scrub the tyres, the temps go up, and they flat spot the tyres, and you don't want that too many times.
Oh, in fact, it's David Brabham coming in.
So David in the pit lane. Is this a drive-through penalty for himself? Because it's very early for a pit stop.
Marcus has come in as well, so the two that were sort of involved in that little incident that we were just describing before, both have come in, so is that...
So they are, looks like they're pitting, actually.
Yeah.
So,
is he pulling up?
I don't know.
We won't look. Colin Talbot obviously has moved up to 8th with those two in the pits, and I'm sure he'll be head down. He's already pulled up half a second on the gap to the car in front. Hopefully he'll be getting a bit closer as well soon.
See what sort of happens on that. 38 minutes, 40 seconds left on the timer. Quick rundown then of your order as the race stands. Stuart French leading the way, 4.9 seconds away from his second place rival, Costas Avram. 5.3 seconds now further down the road. There he is. In third place, Chris Wilson, the first of the Cam Sport cars in the B final. Then it's Ben Bennyworth in fourth place, battling hard with Dan McCauley still there, as you can see on the screen, in fourth and fifth place. Ben Davis in sixth place at the moment. He's just behind these two, a little further down the road, some 6 seconds further down the road. Peter Villar in seventh place as well. Colin Talbot now up into P8 after the pit stops of David Brabham and Marcus Trofimov. Then we've got Sean Newton in ninth place, Richard Charlesworth in 10th. He's had a final warning, of course, for the contact, so he can't have any more contact out there. Steve Burton in 11th place, Lewis Higgs 12th, Marcus Trofimov managing to jump back in front of David Brabham, putting him into 13th, David in 14th place, and Jack Churchman in 15th place. That is the grid as it stands with 37.5 minutes remaining of this race, and we're looking at the Dan McCauley, Ben Bennyworth battle.
Yeah, so I've just been watching as you've been doing that run through of Dan. He's going a lot hotter into the corners than Ben, and that's sort of causing him to catch up slightly, but he's losing out on the exit. And round here, you got big straights, you got a lot of exit you need to think about. If you catch, he's almost touching the gravel there, in fact, on the way out. If you go into a corner and gain 2 tenths, you might come out of it and lose a second by the end of the straight. That's not as big as what's happening here, but it's the same principle.
Well, yeah, I mean, it all falls down to that simple principle in motorsport: slow in, fast out.
Exactly.
Fast in, slow out.
Exactly.
So it's, it is falling into the one.
So he's
of those
trying to put the
aspects.
pressure on Ben.
Yep.
But it might not work in the long run. These guys need to think about their tyres. And he needs to think about keeping with Ben, working that, and getting up to Chris as he runs very wide there into the missing the apex.
On board shot here with David Brabham. You can see there the controls on the inside working hard on that steering wheel. Nice little shot there on board camera of him. And he's obviously got these two in front of him of Marcus Trofimov and Lewis Higgs.
That must mean Marcus got back ahead of him somewhere in that
I
pit
believe
stop.
In the pit stop phase, he managed to just get the jump on him. Maybe had a quicker pit stop, just managing to stop faster and pull away a little bit quicker. That's all we can say for that one. Both getting through the penultimate corner, track limits free, and the same with the final corner. So maybe that's potentially what that penalty, if it was a penalty or a pit stop or anything like that, if it was due to track limits as well. You can see them fighting hard into turn 2. Marcus going very defensive. That's going to hinder his line out of this corner up for the run for turn 2, and potentially we could see a move here from David.
Yeah, no, he's going to go into what could arguably be the 9th turn that we don't count as a turn, and he's going to line him up for our turn 2. As you see, David, he is defending Marcus, but I don't think he needs to at the moment. I don't think David's that close enough to have a good go at him, but he's going to line up for turn 3, and we can see the car in front of Marcus, Lewis Higgs. He didn't really get a good exit there as well, so Marcus might be thinking about a late dive. Oh, see, he's really cold. We're going around the outside as David Brabham, he's going to run out of road, as he know. Marcus gives him room, and he comes back in, but he's going to be on the inside. Now, you don't want to go too abreast into this corner.
You definitely don't. Is he going to try and hold it down the inside here? There's a little bit of contact in the rear. Manages to get through. That was the eye of the needle there from David Brabham, and what a move, putting it back up into P13. A great move from him. Here's a replay of what happened earlier on with Colin Talbot. Looks like he just made a mistake and ran off the track, so there wasn't any contact. And another mistake from Colin Talbot, as the replay renders as well slightly as they slowly disappear into the track. But yeah, that was another mistake from Colin Talbot there. Struggling with those tyres, and he's actually now in the pit lane as well.
Yep, he's dived in as we go back on board with Marcus and David Brabham. So it's going to be an interesting race this to see where on earth Colin might come out with the fresh tyres. He's going to have to do all that work again that for some reason he just kept slipping off the road.
Again, another track limits for Marcus. He's going to be under the watchful eyes of race control very soon if he keeps making little mistakes like that. And you can see running off wide, he's not gained anything there as David Brabham down the inside of Lewis Higgs, getting up him into P11 now. That looked like a mistake under braking from Lewis, made that very easy for David.
Yeah, I think Lewis just went in a bit hot. Maybe he's feeling the pressure of the two behind him. Just before, Marcus was putting him under a lot of pressure. And that mistake, as we see Dan McCauley, he's still latched on the back of that diffuser. of Ben Bennyworth as well. So we're going to see potentially another move here, but I think Dan's actually doing the right thing, keeping that gap to within half a second, but making sure he's in that draft, he's not ruining his tyres, and he's making sure that he can maybe get them on the pit stops.
Potentially so. You can see that. Of course, with this strategy, you want to pit at the same time as one of these guys, or is he going to try and get the jump on him? You know, if he's right behind him and he can get past and he knows that he's faster, you know, if he's just going to stay behind, that's going to be an easy position for him that he could get the potential jump on him.
It's full of tactics at the end of the day, and I think he's done the right thing in playing the tactical game rather than just trying to outgun him on track, because it doesn't always work in your favour if you're trying to do that, and you don't want both of you to fly off, because Chris Wilson will be laughing at that point in third place into that A final.
Exactly that. Not going to be making any moves, though, making mistakes like that into turn 2 from Dan. A little late on the brakes, missing the apex by roughly about 2 miles, and managed to pull the car around onto the back straight. But you can see there, lost so much time from Ben Bennyworth there as they go through. Chris Wilson now, he's going to be seeing these two in his mirror, and he's going to be a little bit concerned, I would have thought, if they're catching up that quickly.
The gap is down to less than a second for the first time in probably about 10 minutes or more, to be honest. And I don't think he should be worried. I can see why he might start looking at his mirrors, but the worst thing you can do is to start looking in your mirrors if you're in this situation, because he just needs to keep putting in his times. He's still on track ahead of the rest of them. Just keep plodding away, keep getting those apexes and making sure you're hitting those braking zones. Exactly
that, yeah. If you do start looking behind, that's usually where you're going to end up, is behind. So, yeah, always look ahead, look at the guys in front and aim for them. It's Costas Avram in front, 5 seconds up the road from Chris Wilson. So there's a bit of a buffer between first, second and third. But then the battle for third place, that final spot for the A final, that's going to be the one.
It's the one everyone wants on this grid, isn't it? And at the end of the day, Dan and Ben are probably the best place to try and give him a bit of grief about it. Stuart French, what a race though. He's right up there. 6.8 seconds ahead. He just keeps pulling that lead out. Costas doing all he can to try and keep that gap as well, but really I think Stuart's in the class of the field at the moment.
Exactly that. It'll be great to see how well he does if he makes it to the A final. 31 minutes left on the clock as we're looking at Steve Burton here. He's under pressure now from David Brabham. David's managed to close that gap up as he's got the slipstream here. Are we going to see a potential move here into turn 3? It looks like he's a little too far back unless he does an absolute send it under braking, which he thinks better of. Or does he? He gets a great exit though.
That is
absolutely
fantastic move of that. I mean, I can't see anything wrong with it, and that was brilliant.
Yeah, very good. I wasn't expecting that, if I'm honest. So a great move from David Brabham there. Moving up now into P10. Next person on his list, Richard Charlesworth, who is some 2 seconds further up the road from him.
Yeah, and as we cut back to Chris Wilson, that gap, since we last said it was within a second, it's touching on half a second now. He's edging him in, is Bennyworth. And Dan has brought himself back as well. In the next 20 minutes, this is going to be fascinating.
I reckon these guys are going to close up. It's going to be quite tense for that third place. Effectively, this is the first place battle, because we know first place has gone at the moment. There at the time stands there.
Is Dan going to make a move? Sorry to interrupt. Is Dan going to make a move into the third corner? Is he thinking about it? Oh, that is a move. Oh, good driver recognition there from Ben, making sure he had the space, but he also had the position still. You can't go too abreast into this corner, so that's good driver awareness, good racing all around from those two.
There's very good racing. Mercedes v Mercedes here between these two, Macaulay and Bennyworth, as they go through. Again, it was a very good positioning under braking, good spatial awareness, like you said, from Bennyworth there to keep those two going around the track. But again, all the time that they're doing that, they're losing time to Chris Wilson in front. If he's going to get the move done, he needs to do it. And that's
exactly. It. I think it'd be interesting to see what the gap is between Ben and Chris now after that one little move, because I imagine it's gone back up towards the second mark. We see David Brabham. He's behind Richard Charlesworth now.
Yep, he's caught up very, very quickly indeed. He's all over the back of him. Less than half a second between these two now. Are we going to see a move from David Brabham in these last couple of corners? This is a very tricky spot to overtake. It looks like he's a bit too far back unless we see a mistake from either driver, which potentially could gift.
Oh, that is very wide.
Yeah, track limits there from Richard Charlesworth. There's some bit of shouting in the background. Not sure what's happened, and here we go. Here's a big gaggle of cars. What's gone on here?
Chris Wilson's gone into second. What's happened to Kostas? Kostas is still there. Oh, is he pitted for tyres? My apologies, I was about to get really excited.
So there we go. Kostas pitted for tyres, but that's allowed these guys to close up. I believe they were just getting past Jack Churchman there, who was getting involved and getting a little bit in the way of this battle. And these guys have managed to concertina right up. So you said 20 minutes. We got it in 5 minutes. And here comes Ben Bennyworth with some pressure down the inside from Dan McCauley. Dan McCauley getting the job done. Ben Bennyworth moving back down into P4. Now they're side by side going into the penultimate corner. Is it going to be a pit stop for Ben Bennyworth? It looks like he is committing to the pit lane. Yes, he is.
And so is
Ben
Chris
Bennyworth
Wilson.
and Chris Wilson both pitting. Dan McCauley up into P2.
It'll be interesting to see what Dan gets up to now, really. He needs to just get those flying laps in. His tyres will be hurting, I'm sure, but he just needs to start fresh air, finally, for him. Just needs to push that lap time as far as he can and get in and change those tyres.
Yep, this is going to be great news for David Brabham as well, because, of course, he pitted really early on in this race, so he's got a fresh set of tyres. They are a few laps old now, but they're fresher than these guys, so he's not going to be pitting now. He's going to manage to jump up a few positions, and now you can see there, he's up into P8.
Indeed, yeah.
P7 now.
I was going to say, yeah. We're just on board with Kostas now. He's come back out, and as I was informed before, he was changed his tyres. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does with fresh tyres, see what lap times are like now as well. Stuart French hasn't come in, and he's still out ahead. So it'll be interesting to see when he decides to pit in as well.
Yep. Sean Newton, 12th place. He's in the pit lane at the moment. Lewis Higgs has just gone up into P12 now, passing him as he pitted earlier on in the race. Gaps opening up quite a bit now in the midfield as we do the pit stop phase. And, of course, that will all change when everyone comes back in. Because, of course, Stuart French, Dan McCauley, they have not pitted for fresh tyres yet, but Kostas Avram have. Is that 29-second gap enough to do a pit stop and get in front? I've not counted how long it takes to do a pit stop and in the pit lane.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you, to be honest, with the with the pit stop. But I think Stuart, who's so far ahead, obviously Kostas will have got those new tyres on. He'll be putting some flying laps in compared to Stuart, perhaps. But I'm actually quite interested to see where Colin Talbot's going to come out after his early pit stop.
Yeah, definitely so as well. Dan McCauley, he's in the pit lane now. He's dropped down into P3. Kostas back up into P2 as well. That's Peter Villar coming into the pit lane as well. He's had a few scraps earlier on in this race, so I suspect his 50Ps need changing. Dan McCauley, he's all the way down into P6 now. The same with Richard Charlesworth. Sorry, it was him who pitted, not Peter Villar, sorry. So it's Richard Charlesworth who pitted into P10 now. Kostas, he's on the fresh set of tyres, of course, so he's running well in P2. 27 seconds is that gap now. And is that coming down slightly? It was 29 seconds earlier. I feel like it is coming down.
Yeah, it might well be. And I was just having a look at Ben and Chris. As we look at David Brabham having a trip off the circuit. And by the looks of Ben Davis trying to put him under pressure. It's going to be interesting going into turn 3. Can he give him a bit of grief? He's going to have a look at the inside. No, David's covered that well. He's broke. Oh, no, he's gone wide. He's gone wide as Ben Davis slips through David Brabham.
Yeah, it's a very common mistake that you see there going into that corner. You see them on the brakes a little bit too late, committing to try and hold off that inside attack. But as you can see, he managed to run wide. Stuart French, your race leader in the pits. It's only a 4-second stop for the fresh set of tyres, and he's going to come back out onto the circuit. You can just see him. He's exit the pit lane now. He'll be able to turn that limiter off already, and as he exit that, so it looks like it's going to be close. But it thinks Stuart French has managed to pit and hold on to that lead as he has. He's already on his way up towards turn 1. The gap, 4 seconds.
Yeah, that gap is massive. Really, Kostas has managed to bring it down, but now Stuart's going to have the fresher tyres compared to him as well. So he's going to be able to put some good times in. I think Stuart's aimed this to perfection. I think he's going to do well for this now. Peter Villar, he's going to have to come into pit as well. Oh, as we see Chris Wilson go up past Peter Villar. So Chris Wilson's retained his place back into third, and Ben Bennyworth's going to have his eyes on trying to catch him up as well.
Yep, so it's all closed up between these guys as well. The mid-place battle as well. Battle for third still very close. Peter Villar, I think he pitted earlier on in the race, but of course he'll have old tyres, and I think I have seen him spin once or twice. Here's David Brabham. He had pitted earlier on in this race, and contact between him and Dan McCauley. A bit of front-to-rear contact. He knows better, slots back in behind, doesn't take the position. and he's going to have to try that one again at another corner.
It'd be interesting to know why Dan's all the way back down there, because last time we checked, he was up with Ben Bennyworth as well.
Well, it's his pit lane was a long time, of course. He was a little bit further back and did get caught in traffic as well when they got caught up with the back marker of Jack Churchman. So
indeed, as we see, Peter Vlaars just dropped back behind Ben Bennyworth now. So that race for third place is pretty much between Ben and Chris now, I'd say. As we see, Dan's he didn't spin off, but he has lost a lot of time. We see David maybe trying to make a move on him into the first corner.
He'll have a great momentum here going into turn one. Is he going to look down the inside? It's a send it position move. Closes the door on him, though, and denies him that position. It was a good opportunity from David Brabham, but the gap just wasn't there. Again, are we going to see a potential move going up into turn two now? It looks like he's a little bit too far back to make a move this time around. But again, if he can line himself up perfectly here, potentially again another move for turn three.
Late break.
It's good round the corner. He is very good on the brakes. Is he still close enough here? I think he just couldn't manage to close that gap enough, though, into turn three.
Yeah, I think Dan's going to be all right unless he tries a really late lunge here, David. We've seen it in the last lap. He is late on the brakes. He is good on the brakes, to be fair. But unfortunately, I think he's a bit too far back now, and Dan's going to try and get his head down and try and get back into that battle for third, but I think it's going to be between Chris and Ben.
Yeah, I think you could be right as well. The gap is just over a second now between those two as we go to 13th place. This is Sean Newton, Steve Burton just in front of him. This is a battle for 12th place. Only 2 tenths between these two. Yellow flags in sector one at the moment. Not sure what's caused that as a potential move down the inside of Sean Newton.
That's a shame.
And there's a little bit of contact. Makes the move done. Not sure what race control is going to make a call on that one for.
No, I'm not sure. And we see that yellow in sector one. That's been taken away now as we've got 20 minutes left in the race. This is Colin Talbot. You see, he's come back out in ninth, and he's very much on the edge of it.
Experimenting the track limits on the apex there.
Yeah, we'll say he's on the edge of the grip and what's allowed, shall we say. But he's got 7 seconds to catch up between him and Marcus, so we'll see what he can do in 20 minutes.
Yep, exactly. So we'll see that. In terms of overall pace, we can see what sector times they're doing on one of the little screens that we've got out here. I can't quite see it there. The numbers are too far. What's Colin doing compared to Marcus in terms of sector times?
So Marcus is actually 2 tenths up into sector one. He's 2 tenths up in sector three though, and in sector two, sorry. And in sector three, it's quite hard to see these. In sector three, he's actually 4 tenths up. So overall, Colin is quicker on track over the course of the lap. Costas has actually got purple sector one and sector two, so he's actually faster than Stuart French over those 2 sections of the corner. And in sector 3, Ben Bennyworth is the fastest man on track.
Drama at the front of the pack. Stuart French, that gap is coming down. It was over 4 seconds when he left the pit lane. It's come down to 3.5 seconds now as he exits turn one. So Costas is slowly reeling in. Stuart, it might not be enough in the 20-minute gap, but you can see the split there. They're not that far apart now, are they?
I wonder if the pressure's starting to get to Stuart. Maybe lapsing in concentration. You know, he had that before the pit stops happened. He had it absolutely nailed. He was unbeatable before the pit stop. Maybe now he's just getting a slightly complacent. Maybe missed a braking zone. Maybe missed an apex. And Costas is trying to pounce.
It is common to see, though, if you're at the front and you're at the front, you don't race or anything like that. You can just start to get a little bit comfortable and. Like I say, you lapse in concentration, you brake a little bit late for a corner, you lose a few tenths here, and you brake a little bit there, you lose a few tenths there.
Well, for Stuart French at the moment, it's pretty much a 55-minute qualifying session, isn't it? And that is a long time to be putting in qualifying laps, or practice laps of any kind. So he's doing well. I think Costas is going to have to do a lot to, catch up, but he's also got to pass him.
Exactly that. On board with Ben Bennyworth, looking backwards at nobody. So
he's the fastest man on track, though. I can tell you, the last lap the lap before, he was actually purple overall. He's absolutely fine, Ben Bennyworth. And then we've got Chris Wilson just up ahead of him. So he's got 8 tenths or 7 tenths to him. We'll see if he can line up a move within the next 2 or 3 laps.
Yep, this is going to be making the guys at Camsport nervous. And, this is the final spot on the A grid here. If you get third place in this race, you're starting 15th for the A final, and that's where you get the points. And here we go. Yeah. Ben Bennyworth has got a good exit out of turn one here. He's in the slipstream, and he's going to be looking to the inside. Chris goes defensive. Bennyworth switches back to the outside. The camera, when it wants to, changes camera position. And is he going to give the room? He does give the room.
Tries to
Stops
switch back, though.
Yeah, tries to switch back, but not quite good enough. So a good attempt first line for Ben Bennyworth, but not quite there. Chris, good defending from him.
I think it's definitely showing Ben's intention, though. He wants this job done early. He thinks he's quicker than Chris, and he thinks he wants to prove it as well. But getting past him is going to be difficult. In this section of the track, it is a hard sort of series of corners to overtake on. You can't be going two abreast through it very often. So hopefully we'll get another lined up into turn 1 and 2.
Well, yeah, let's hopefully so. They seem to be the most favourable corners to overtake on. That gap open up slightly. It looks like Bennyworth struggles through this midfield section slightly against Chris. Maybe it was just this lap, a little mistake. But he looks like he's opened up that gap quite a bit now, has Chris. Back to 0.6 of a second. So
I think the reason why Ben got that massive run onto him into turn 2 is because Chris actually missed the apex of the first corner. Now, Chris is going to have that in his mind as he lines up the first corner now. It's whether or not he can nail that apex this time round.
Well, let's have a look as we go in towards turn 1. No position moves going on here at the moment as we go through. Nice apex from both. And again, it all looked like Bennyworth had the better exit out. And it feels like a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, I think he's more comfortable with that entry, and especially the exit. He's too far back here to make a move, I would say, although he's making sure he can see him. Oh, he's just sort of outbroke himself there, but he might be trying to just get a good run into turn 3.
A bit of a later apex there. I don't think it's worked out for him, but he's managed to keep that gap at a bit closer than he had last time around, though. And he's going to try and close in under braking a little bit too close, almost collecting the back of Chris Wilson. And again, that's not going to help his exit speed.
No, Ben needs to focus now because he doesn't want to lose out on that half a second gap he's got. He doesn't want that to extend to 7, 8, 9 tenths again. He's going to keep the pressure on Chris, and Chris will crack, I'm sure, if he starts driving in his mirrors. If he keeps nailing his apexes and braking points, it's going to be up to Ben to try and make that move.
Well, we'll definitely see. 16 minutes left on the clock, so there's still plenty of time to make that move done with a gap of only half a second. These guys are going to be the one to keep an eye on for the last spot of the podium then as we go into the race. Let's again just take a quick rundown then for at home. Stuart French is on lap 28, leading by 3.6 seconds from Costas Havram in second place. Chris Wilson in third. That is the battle that we're watching here with Ben Bennyworth. And I was going through the order, and I might stop because this looks like it's getting a little bit more interesting. He's got the good slipstream again. Chris Wilson is going to go defensive, and Bennyworth again round the outside, going the long way round on the dirty line. And again, he can't get the power on, but now it's much closer here. He's got a better exit out of turn 2. And he's, again, going defensive from Chris Wilson. Bennyworth going to look down the inside, outside. Which way is he going to go? He switches to the inside under braking. No, thinks against it. Brakes earlier.
No, I think he needs to focus on that turn 2 as well, because I think at the moment, if he goes onto those marbles, he's not going to get that exit that he's looking for. And although he might have a later braking point than Chris is doing well keeping him behind him and making sure he's got that gap into those braking points.
Yeah, he's positioning that car very well to make it as wide as possible through turn 2. And that's the ideal thing that you want, because it's very common for drivers to get the switch back through that corner. We've seen it in every form of motorsport at that corner that comes to this track.
Indeed, yeah, but I'm just having a look as well. If you take a quick break from these guys, Stuart has actually extended. Well, he's up to about 4 seconds on that gap to Costas. So Costas isn't catching as much anymore. Stuart's managed to get this control back.
Yep, exactly that. We've just crossed over the 15-minute mark. And all eyes on the final place for the A final. It's the third place battle, and it's the moment that we want, and very late on the brakes for Ben Bennyworth, and that's the end of that. The gap's massively opened up now, over a second, and that was just Ben Bennyworth. A lapse of concentration on the brakes, missing the braking zone, and luckily not collecting Chris Wilson.
No, but as you just said, there's 15 minutes left, and I'm sure he'll be able to get that gap back down if he really focuses and makes sure he's hitting his apexes, as he just did in that corner as well. Chris will be breathing a bit of a sigh of relief, because he was probably feeling the pressure a bit, and now he might have a lap or two where he can breathe and get composed again.
Yep, definitely so. 14 minutes, 10 seconds on the clock then. I tried to do a rundown on the order, and I got interrupted, I would say, from these two battling away. But
the sort of interruption you want, though, I'm guessing.
Yeah, sort of interruption you want, but as these guys have slightly calmed down just for the moment, let's go through that order then. Stuart French in first place with Costas Havram, who we're looking at here in P2. Chris Wilson in third place, Ben Bennyworth in fourth. Ben Davis, he's in 5th place at the moment, a couple of seconds down the road and closing in on those two battling. Dan McCauley in 6th place with David Brabham in best position so far in P7. Marcus Trofanov is in 8th place at the moment with the recovering Colin Talbot up into P9 now. Peter Vlaar, he's in 10th place with Richard Charlesworth hot on his heels. A few seconds behind them in P11. Sean Newton in 12th, Steve Burton in 13th place, Lewis Higgs in 14th, and Jack Churchman rounding out your 15-car grid, 1 lap down from your race leader at the moment.
Yeah, and as we've been doing that rundown, Ben has actually got the gap back down to 0.6 of a second, so he's not far away from being exactly where he was moments ago. I don't think there's much doubt that the fact that Ben is the faster man on track at the moment. It's just whether or not he can get past Chris and then see what happens when he's actually in front, because that's when the pressure's on. 3rd place, remember, is the route into this A final.
Definitely so. Ben Davis, though, we're watching him now as he's closing in on these two who have been battling away. He's only 1.5 seconds away from Ben Bennyworth. He's going to want in on this battle, and of course he was one of the quicker qualifiers with just one of the spins earlier on in the race that he had, which is what caused him to be in this position. Indeed,
yeah, and I'm sure Ben Bennyworth won't be thanking Chris for backing Ben Bennyworth into Ben Davis. There's a lot of Bens, but keep with us, as he's going to be just under a 1.5 second gap now. So hopefully 4th place Ben Bennyworth is going to be getting ahead of Chris Wilson sooner rather than later, or Chris is going to have to back him up into Ben Davis to try and give himself a bit of a gap.
Well, let's see what plan he comes up with. 12 minutes to go, not much longer left. It's only going to be a few laps. We're on lap 31 at the moment, and all eyes on this because this battle's getting a little bit heated at the moment. Back marker of Lewis Higgs up ahead. He's going to be playing a pivotal role in this moment. Blue flags will come out, and of course drivers do have to give way to lapping cars, but it is of course all up to the lapping car, the faster car, to get past without incident. So that is the rules for these guys, and let's see how they go on with that.
Yeah, just before we might see another move, I can't wait for the A final if it's anything like this B final as well, because it's been thrilling stuff. And especially if some of these guys are in the mix, it'll be even more exciting. As we see, Ben doesn't look for the move this time, probably quite wisely. He was a bit further back, and he definitely needs to make sure he picks his moment now, because he can't get sucked into a battle with the position behind.
Exactly that. And, of course, it is very tricky to be right behind another car because there's so much aero on this car. The disturbed air that's coming out the back, the dirty air, it's really hard to stay close, and you can really understeer through some of these corners, faster corners, I should say.
Yeah, definitely. I think as well, Chris has been in the more difficult position for the entirety of this race against Ben, but now as Ben Davis catches up, Ben Bennyworth's actually got the more difficult position.
Oh no, it's a spin just in front. It's not one of the lead guys. It was Lewis Higgs, the backmarker in 14th place. Luckily, that's a very robust, quick way of getting out the way.
Yeah, I mean, at least he is out of the way, I suppose. I was looking over at you, Anthony, before, because all of a sudden everybody goes, ooh, but yeah. Coming back to it, Ben Bennyworth's actually in the more difficult position. He's going to have to attack and make sure he's not leaving that door open. His job's become a hell of a lot harder since we've got Ben Davis coming behind.
Yeah, exactly that. He is slowly closing in now. It is less than a second. It's just fluctuating between a second now and less than a second between these guys with 10 minutes left of the clock. Here is a replay, I believe, what happened to Lewis Higgs. Yep, on the power, too much curb, smacks that nose into the Armco of the pit lane, and that's not ideal.
It's easily done, especially if you're playing around with the traction control maybe, getting onto that loose edge. And he might have been seeing a few blue flags, looking behind him, just didn't quite concentrate. Unlucky for Lewis.
Exactly that. Those tyres are going to be more worse than wear for now then. 9 minutes, 40 seconds on the clock. We're nearing the end of this race, and all eyes on the battle for third place. Chris Wilson, Ben Bennyworth and Ben Davis going to be fighting hard between these others. English, get my words out. As these guys go through with their 9 minutes remaining, it's going to be what must be going through Chris's head as he makes a little bit of mistake there.
Well, I think we just saw a little glimpse of what's going through his head, because now he's getting lined up into turn one. Around the outside goes Ben Bennyworth, and can he get the later break in? He's going to see Chris Wilson's going to defend. Oh, he's broken too late there, and Ben Bennyworth has got the position, but can Ben Davis get back through, or can Chris keep his foot in?
So yeah, Chris had to have given that position away because of the track limits. He wouldn't have been able to keep that one. So he is going to have to try and fight back, but I'm sure race control are going to be giving him a warning. Here we go into the braking zone of turn 2. Is he going to try and go later on the brakes? No, he doesn't. So that now promotes Ben Bennyworth into P3 and that final spot for the A final. Now Ben Davis all over the back of Chris Wilson. He knows he's under pressure as we go on board of the front nose. The big diffuser at the back of Chris Wilson. Chris goes defensive. Davis down the outside. Is he going to try and get the switch back here? Is he got enough speed? No, he hasn't. So he still holds on to it. It does Chris Wilson.
No, I think Chris Wilson plays his car very well there. And if he dives at the inside here, it's going to be ambitious. But the camera cuts away as we see Peter Flahr. Ben Davis got him, but Chris is coming back on him. And he's going to be, oh, yeah, that's a very nice move. He's back ahead of him now. But unfortunately, I think for these two, Ben Bennyworth's going to drive away and he's going to get that A final spot. But it's good driving between Ben and Chris at the moment.
Yep, so Ben Davis is going to try and get past this as fast as he can because he wants to try and catch up to Ben Bennyworth. I think Chris has been a bit shaken up from that last few moments without breaking himself. And now he is a very, very weak spot now between himself and Ben Davis. Ben Davis now on the slipstream. Is he going to look to the inside here? No, too far back. But again, Chris missing the apex and under pressure as we cut back to Sean Newton here. He is piling on the pressure somewhere else. And again, he has managed to get past it. Ben Davis down the inside, up the straight, up into turn 2. But then he switches camera. Chris Wilson trying to get back, can't quite do it. Ben Davis up into P4. And I think that is done for the time being.
It's not going to be done for the rest of the race. I think that's pretty much the only guaranteed bit about this bit of racing. He's going to give it another go. He might even line him up here. He's going towards the outside. Is he going to try and outbrake him and go round the outside? No, he's going to try and get that switch back, which is probably the wiser move, but he doesn't quite get back under in time.
No, so it's a good attempt from Chris Wilson there to try and get that position back. If you want to try to do it, you've got to get it back as ASAP, just to try so they don't break away too much. But as you can see, as we go through this infill section, that gap is opening up. It's now 0.6 of a second between himself and Ben Davies up in front now. And I think if he doesn't make any mistakes, that's kind of signed, sealed and done for the time being. 6 minutes to go of the race. And I think we've just seen the final battle for third place. Yet to see if Ben Davis can close that gap on Ben Bennyworth. It's a lot of time he's got to try and gain, but it could be done.
It's a lot of time he's trying to gain, and he's really pushing the car to try and do it as well. But Chris is really thinking about it. He's putting his car on the edge. He's really trying to push. I think we're going to see Stewart and Costas going through to the final, and Ben Bennyworth probably joining him there as well. Ben Davis is really trying to throw everything behind it, but unless Ben Bennyworth makes a mistake, he's been quick all day, and he's currently got still holding the purple lap time, the fastest lap of the race. He's going to be, hopefully, he can keep it where he is.
Well, let's see. Just under 6 minutes to go. 5 minutes, 50 seconds left on the clock. We're at lap 35 for Stuart French. He's opened that gap up to 7.2 seconds now between himself and Costas Avram. And these guys, he's still right on the back of him, isn't he? It doesn't look like Ben Davies is managing to break away. Chris wants to try and get that position back, but time is slowly running out and he's not making that much progress at the moment.
No, indeed. I'm just looking a bit further down as well. You see the likes of Dan McCauley and David Brabham back there as well. Dan McCauley's actually really trying to push back. He's got 3 seconds to catch Dan Wilson. But if he just starts trying to mess around with Ben, then he could get into the graps of Dan McCauley again.
Let's see, keeping an eye on the drivers a little bit further behind in terms of 6th place, Dan McCauley. He's, I believe, managed to close up 10 seconds between these guys because they've been battling. You can see them in the background, that green Mercedes trying to close in on these two, on this BMW battling with the Audi. And we can see what happens. Well, actually, they're 2 BMWs, I think. So there we go, me getting my cars wrong. But yeah, so he's managed to close that gap up. So let's see if he can close up to this battle. As you can still see, Chris Wilson diving to the inside. And there's a little bit of contact, and that was an ambitious move under braking. But they don't spin and manage to keep going. But that's going to play into the hands of Dan McCauley now as well.
I think ambitious is probably the correct word there. I think luckily all Chris did was probably aid Ben Davis in rotating the car a bit quicker. But luckily we didn't have anybody off there, no spins, and we're all back safely racing. Dan McCauley is going to be licking his lips.
I think Dan McCauley's liking this, seeing this up ahead. He's really close in on these guys. It was 25 seconds between them. Last year it was over 2 seconds. It's less than 2 seconds now. It's, again, fluctuating between the two. 1.8 seconds he is now behind these guys. So he's going to be trying to close in on that battle in this final 4 minutes of the race. But there is not a lot of time left. There's probably around 2-3 laps left.
I think we'll have 2 laps on the timer, and if we're finishing on the checkered flag, that'll be on the 3rd lap, I think. So there's not long left, but Dan won't care one bit. He's going to put everything behind the car, as we see him doing that now, to try and catch up to these 2 ahead of him.
Yep, dancing with the track limits, though. Race control will be keeping an eye on that as we go on board with him, or we're watching him now, into the braking zone. Again, Chris late on the brakes, almost into the back of Ben Davies, piling on the pressure, and it looks like he got a good exit. Now, is this going to be a move for 4th place? Again, Chris Wilson looking to the inside. He can't quite do it here. He stays in the slipstream, under braking, switches to the outside. And is he going to try and get the switch back here? He could get the switch back now. He's got a good run out of here, loses the back end slightly. Ben Davies goes defensive, slots back in front. Now he gets the slipstream as they go in towards turn 3. Who's going to be later on the brakes? They're not side by side. Chris switches to the inside, under braking again, says no to it. Yellows in sectors 1 and 3, they clear quickly, and this battle is not over yet, is it?
No, absolutely not. And I think Beckler's just trying to hit the apex a bit too much, bit too hard, as Chris is sort of just trying to be calm, just pick his moments. He wants Ben to make the mistake before he makes him make the mistake, if that makes sense. But yeah, we got Dan coming in behind him. He'd have loved that little bit of action there. He's only going to have a lap or 2 left. He might be a bit too far back to make a move ahead of these 2, but he can certainly put his nose in to see if there's an accident.
Yep, replay here coming up. Let's see what happened here. I think this is David Brabham who we've got going through the final corner, and it's getting a little loose on there, and that's a big crash into that tyre barrier on the outside of the final corner. And that, if damage was on for this championship, he'd have a lot of it after that.
Yeah, that would be a nasty one. You wouldn't want to see that in real life. You don't want to see that in this, even in this style of racing either, to be fair. But we see, I think Ben Davies has just extended that gap on Chris Wilson a little bit. It's up to 0.8 of a second. So this lap might not be the one that Chris has to do it on. He might have to do it on the last lap. And what a last lap that would make.
Yeah, it would be a last lap as these guys closing up on each other. Less than 2 minutes left, 1 minute 40 seconds on the clock. It's 1 minute 22 roughly per lap. So these guys, depending on where the race leaders are, if they're anywhere, I think they've got this lap and the next lap. So I think that we're on the penultimate lap at the moment. And we're looking at Dan McCauley here, and he is all over the back of Chris Wilson now.
Yeah, just before these guys make a big move on each other, which I'm sure will happen, just want to say well done to Stuart French, who he's just come into the camera now as he comes around the final corner, probably to start the final lap.
Yep,
he's absolutely bossed it.
Yep, this will be the final lap for him. 1:10 left on the clock with 1:22 as a lap. Final lap time then for Stuart French and Costas Afram as these guys go through. But we're back with Chris Wilson.
Anything can happen here, really, can't it? I mean, it's if Chris decides to make the move on Ben, it's not going to be to get into any of the finals or anything like that. It's just for pride now. But, you know, these guys want to race. They want to finish as high as possible.
Exactly that. And he looks like that gap has massively closed up now. Dan McCauley all over the back of Chris Wilson. He's not going to benefit anything from doing it. But, of course, like you say, pride will, I'm sure, overcome. And he'll want to get that position as we go up the hill now towards turn 2. 30 seconds left on the clock as we go up into turn 2. Chris Wilson goes slightly defensive.
Yeah, but he's going to go try and get that switch back. Chris Wilson runs onto the curb. He's actually lined him up perfectly for the turn 3 now, so we'll see what he can do. Chris is going to defend, obviously, but can Dan McCauley? He's going around the outside to see if he can outbrake himself. It's a dangerous braking position here. It's hard to go around the outside, but Dan, can he get his nose in front? He's closing the door. Oh, there's a little bit of rubbing, and Dan's in the gravel as Chris slightly rubs him wide, shall we say.
I think race control won't look too much into that one as we cut back to the race leader, Stuart French. The race has finished, and it's lap 39, and he's going to cross the line as we see another driver in the background take a spin. But Stuart French crosses the line. He's going to take P13 for the A final. Costas Avram, he's going to take P14 for the A final. And Ben Bennyworth, with the last 2 laps remaining, managing to get past Chris Wilson, who held on to 3rd place for the majority of the race, takes the final spot for the A final. P3 in this race, P15 for the A race as the rest of the field comes through. Ben Davies, P4. He held on to that one. Chris Wilson managing to keep Dan McCauley at bay. And here comes the next battle. It's Peter Villar and Colin Talbot looking to the inside. It's not over yet. I should say Colin's gone wide, and he can't take that position. A good effort, though, from Colin.
I mean, all round, it was a difficult race for Colin, let's face it. But I think all round, all positions on the field, that was a fantastic race. I mean, well done, Stuart and Costas. I think they bossed it. But Ben, Chris, Dan, Colin Talbot, David Brabham, Marcus, all the lads, they really did very well.
Yep, fantastic stuff for them. And of course, David Brabham's first time here at Simply Race for the DTM Championship, jumping in straight away and managing to get a P9 out there. Absolutely fantastic, because these guys are seriously quick out there, and, you know, jumping in and giving this a go, fantastic to see, and I think he's absolutely smashed it.
I think it's amazing to see a man with that kind of CV comes down here, still has things to learn as well. I'm sure he's learned a few things from these lads. I'm sure he enjoyed it thoroughly, and we enjoyed having him as well.
Yeah, excellent stuff. Hopefully we'll try and get a word with him a little later on. But yeah, great stuff from these guys as they come back into the pit lane. Hopefully they've looked after their fuel so they can get back to the pit lane. It is, I believe, one of the rules that they have to get back to the pit lane on the tank. So
that's an interesting one, yeah.
If they cross the line and then run out of fuel, I think they get a penalty. So
they need to make sure that that's actually they take that into consideration then as well, because I probably wouldn't. I'd probably forget about that as a driver.
Yeah, you just be like, come on, I've only got like five bits of a tank left and managed to get through. But no, fantastic stuff from that. Well, the B race is over. We're heading to the A race shortly, and we'll try and get some driver interviews for you as well. In the meantime, my jaw needs a bit of a break. So
I think I need a drink as well.
Yeah, so I think we'll cut to a venue camera. We'll have a small intermission, and we'll be right back in just a moment with some driver interviews. Stick around. So just turning the microphones on, there we go, back with our third place man from the B race, Ben Pennyworth. Ben, that was an exciting race to the end, really, wasn't it, for you?
Yeah, knackering, I'll tell you that. Started off fifth, and then round about the third, fourth area, I was pretty much in a scrap with Chris Wilson for the whole of that race. And I can't remember who it was as well. Someone else wasn't getting involved in the scrap. And then we started coming up with back traffic. So I thought, right, I'm going to try and sort of undercut, get a fresh set of tyres, and surprisingly, it worked. And then stuck on the back of Chris Wilson for the whole of that race. And then, with about 10 minutes to go, he kind of made a mistake coming out of the final corner, down the pit straight. Again, went a bit deep into turn one. I got the position. And I knew that Ben Davis was coming right behind us. So I was kind of hoping that Wilson would sort of defend and sort of hope that I can sort of pull away, and thankfully it did. So it kind of worked for that. So
yeah, it was good. The driver you were in the battle with earlier on, Dan McCauley in the green Mercedes, the identical car to you but just green. You were in the red car, of course. You were having a great little scrap 1-to-1 with him earlier on in the race, and of course that was hope making us feel like, oh, is he going to try and close in on that position? And the fact that you still managed to do it, you had great pace and quickest up of the race as well.
Yeah, I was quite happy with that, actually. It was like a 1:23.3, I think it was. But yeah, like I said, I had a good scrap with Crest the whole of that race. Unfortunately, the top two pulled away, so I couldn't have done any more than I could have done. But overall, third place, I'll take that. Into the main final, I go.
Yeah, exactly. You're into the A final, starting at the back. What's your tactic going into turn one then from the back of the grid?
Just go for it.
Just go for it. Just send it down the inside.
Lick the stamp and send it.
Excellent stuff. Thanks for talking to us. Best of luck then for the A final. Well done.
No worries.
Cheers. I'll take your microphone from you, and then we'll get our second place. We'll get our second place man in. Costas, come join us. You've been summoned. Yeah. Take a microphone. Take a seat. So, second place. You kind of had a bit of a one-horse race. You were on your own for most of it, weren't you?
Quite lonely out there today.
55 minutes on your own. Talk us through, because when you're on your own, the biggest thing that could happen is you getting a little bit complacent with yourself and making a little bit of mistakes here and there and losing time. But we generally didn't see that from you. You were kind of on it throughout the whole thing.
I just took no risks from that. I just wanted to bring it home and try and get through to the main final. So, yeah, it was try and keep up. There was a couple of little mistakes, but luckily I kept it pointing in the right direction.
Yeah, exactly that. Like I say, second place in that one, starting P14 for the A final. And of course, we've seen you in the A finals before, and it's going to be great to see you in there again. Again, tactic. What's your tactic for the start?
It's going to be fun. Being at the back, there's limited chance of someone coming up the side and taking you out. So it's just a case of keep your own nose clean, don't hit anyone in front, and enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly that. And of course, we see these guys. It's going to be a little bit more competitive in this one, a lot closer. So it's going to be, you had a lonely race last time, you're going to have a very exciting race this time. So you just got to try and switch that mentality over now from consistent person to attack here, there, where you can. But a fantastic race from you. And you almost actually got the switchback, actually, thinking for Stuart French as well.
We were just talking about that. He was surprised how much the undercut worked there.
Yeah, so almost got away with that, but not quite. So starting P14 in the A final. Thanks for talking to us, and we'll see you. We'll see you out there again.
Thank you.
Get a drink. Spot on. Then let's bring in our race winner from the A final, Chris Wilson, wearing not Chris Wilson, sorry, Stuart French. Chris Wilson.
Should I go and grab Chris?
No, don't go, Chris. Are you wearing a very good T-shirt there? What does that say?
Almost a race.
Pretty much a racing driver. There you go. It's a good example. There we go. Wool, how was that for you?
It was relaxing.
Relaxing? Yeah.
No, it was quite good. Costas kept me honest through the whole race. I was keeping an eye on the gap between us. Every time he caught up a little bit, I'd be like, oh no, he's pulled something out of the bag. So I was waiting for that moment that he would just catch up, and seemingly just about the same pace. But with these cars, every lap's a new lap. The tyre degradation means that your sighting lap is each lap. Your braking point is moving like 5 to 10 meters every single corner, and then add in the fuel in there as well. I played it a bit safe, so it'll be interesting how this one goes, really.
Yeah, exactly that. And of course, we saw from that one. We were speaking to Costas. He said he had a lonely race. Yours was also lonely. You've gone from that mentality of consistency, just staying in front, not making any little mistakes. Now you're going to be starting P13. You're going to have a full grid of cars in front of you and guys behind you as well. Different strats.
Me and Sean were only, 500ths off each other in qualifying. So, it's going to be a close race. It'll be very different from a lonely Group B race I had just then.
Yeah, excellent stuff. Well, I think they're calling you to the Sims now for your A final. You've not had much of a break, and you're jumping back in for another 55 minutes, aren't you? So make sure you get a quick jump in the toilet, I think. So I think.
Yeah, we'll go and have a drink break first, and then let's go again.
Excellent stuff. Well,
Great.
well done for your win, and hopefully we see you on the podium again in this one, maybe.
I don't know.
Cheers. Thank you very much. Excellent stuff. Great to talk to our top three there. And are we going to be, we've got some other driver interviews as well. So we spoke to our top three. Let's talk to a man who was a little bit further down there, David Brabham. David, how are we?
I'm good, how are you?
You're good, yeah. First time with the SRDTM Championship. How was that?
Well, yeah, first time on any kind of simulator like this, that's for sure. So, amazing. It's incredible to think. Some parts don't feel so real, but there's quite a bit that does, particularly when you're racing. And I think that's where the most fun is when you've got people around you and you're sort of calculating where the best place to overtake someone without going off yourself.
Yes, and I suppose that's the sort of things that you can bring from the real racing side of it is how you position the car on circuit, where you position it, that is going to be one of the main fundamental factors that you would bring across from one of those. And seeing you out there, you had some fantastic overtakes that we saw. We thought that, he's not going to make that. He's done it. How did he do that? So, you had some great eye-of-the-needle moments through some of those corners. Have you raced at the Red Bull Ring, actually, in real life?
Yes, I have.
You have. How does that circuit compare to what we've got here?
Circuits, I mean, it's in terms of layout, it's the same. When you're so used to being in the car, unless in a simulator like this, you really do feel like you're losing about 85% of your sensory feedback. So it seems very narrow, and it just takes time to really narrow into what all that feels like to know exactly what to do. So for me, I was just going through a massive learning curve while I was still trying to pass people.
Yeah, and I say, even in this tier of motorsport, it is a new side of motorsport that we see, esports and the sim racing side of it. Drivers are learning so many different aspects of it, and even such experienced drivers such as yourself, who've raced in pretty much everything.
Yeah.
You've got your career sheet is quite impressive, much more impressive than mine. I have to say, I've done karting. That's it.
Cool.
So there we go. No,
Yeah.
you've literally raced in everything, and to see you in this is amazing. It is great, and we're very pleased to have you here.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, just great fun. We managed to get a couple of people that I didn't know from a friend of mine, and they're really quick, and they're in the main race, and they're right up there. So we're looking forward to seeing where we get in the final.
No, exactly that. And just talking through your straps on that, you actually pitted really early.
I did.
We wondered what that pit stop was for. We thought, has he
Like
got
I
a
said, I
penalty?
was still learning what all these things were, all these buttons and everything were doing.
We thought, how did it go? But the pit stop went okay.
I got
though.
fastest lap after that.
Oh, what? Yeah,
and then
with the fresh
someone
tyres.
beat me by 10th, but I did go 2 seconds quicker than I did in qualifying. So
Those fresh
it
tyres.
shows I'm still learning. So.
Yeah, those fresh tyres do make a difference.
They're
but,
incredible.
They are
They
really
really do
good.
feel like you've got a new set of boots on that you
Yeah.
can go out there and push. Now I want to go back out, put another set of new tyres on and push again. Then you start to really fine tune it a bit.
It is really good, and seeing it out there, the DTM cars, fantastic, high aero cars as well, really fly around some of those corners. You must be used to that with some high aero as well, shouldn't you?
Yeah, so some cars a little bit more, but it's really just getting used to that sensation you get when you're on a simulator. Again, that feedback is a lot less than the real deal. But but you just spend more time on it, you start to get used to it, then it becomes more normal. But I haven't got to that stage yet. So
Yeah, no, with the real side of it, it's all through the backside and feeling it through the seat and everything like that. You don't get that in here. You have to really feel it through the wheel itself, and that's the pivotal moment where you could go into a corner, it goes a little bit light, so you know the back stepping out on you, and it's just those fine movements.
Well, I used to do quite a lot of simulator work in terms of car development and tyre development about 10 years ago on the Worst Simulator. So we were doing the Honda Acura program in America. And I spent a lot of time in there, and then you get really good at it. And then I haven't really been back in simulators for about 10 years, so I feel pretty rusty, yeah.
So first time in 10 years, you've not done bad.
That was
so
okay.
there we go. So, no, excellent stuff. Well, great to talk to you. Great to have you on this one. I think we're going to get the A race going away in just a moment. So, we'll cut to that. Great to talk to you.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Bye.
David Brabham there. And, we'll cut over to the A final in just a moment. I think they're going to be starting their flying lap at the moment, which they are. Joining me back in the commentary box,
Hello.
Jack.
I've rehydrated.
You've rehydrated. So did I in that small gap that we had, and we're back for the A final. Now we're going to be starting the formation lap as you can see, drivers pulling away. Christian Kelly starting on pole position, 4th place in the championship with 100 points to his name. Matt Webb starting in 2nd place, and Matt Richards in 3rd. Jack Ashton, he is the man who we were hoping who was going to improve and try and cut in front of these guys. He is in P4 at the moment, but he has managed to stay in front of Luke Bennett. The championship leader is in 5th place. Now,
it was after that disqualified lap, wasn't it?
It was after the disqualified lap, yeah, and that's what we were talking about with the race control. We're looking at those track limits. If you go over those yellow lines, Will Tregertha, a very skilled racing driver. You know, he's raced in the ADAC GT Championship as well, and the Audi R8, and he also races.
Been all over.
He's been all over. Yeah, he's a Nürburgring specialist, I would say. I know about the first 5 corners of the Nürburgring, and then I get lost.
I don't even attempt it.
And confused. But yeah, formation at that time. Chris Wilson, Sean King, who we're looking at now. I'm still in the B race here. Sean King in the very bright green and black DTM car there, going through turn 3. He is in 12th place at the moment. He was originally at the back of the grid for the A final, and of course Stuart French, Costas Avram and Ben Bennyworth, the 3 drivers promoted to the A final there at the back of this race, who are now going to have to do that race all over again.
I know. What a pain, though. It could be worse ways to spend a day, couldn't there?
Oh, exactly.
If we're talking about championship, though, the people you've got to look out for are Jack Ashton in 4th, currently 3rd in the championship, but the highest placed championship potential winning driver on this grid at the moment. And then behind him, you got Luke Bennett after that disqualified pole time. And then you got Matt Gudger-Scott as well, going in 9th at the moment. Now, we heard from Matt before, and he was very disappointed. He's hopeful that the race sort of it blends in and he gets used to it all a bit better, and he maybe takes advantage of some mistakes up front. But we're going to probably see a few less driver errors in this race, considering this is the A final. We're looking at the best of the best right here.
It is, yep. This is the feature race then of the day here at Simply Race, the DTM Championship, the final race of the 2019-2020 season for the Simply Race DTM Championship. 15 cars on the grid for this A race, and it's going to be a belter. It's incredibly close at the front. Potential of 4 drivers in for the chance of winning the championship, and this is one of them. Christian Kelly starting on pole position here at the Red Bull Ring. 8 corners, I should say. 6 seconds on the clock until we get the countdown. 3 red lights are on. They go green and we're away. It's a great start from Christian Kelly, a great start from him as well as we go through. Everyone getting defensive. Jack Ashton right to the inside now as he tries to go down the inside into P3, which he manages to do so. Christian Kelly runs wide already on a track limits, and Matt Webb up into 2nd place, and Jack Ashton up into 2nd place now. So Jack from 4th to 2nd place. What a move. Here comes Luke Bennett as well, down the inside of Matt Webb into the braking zone of turn 2 as they shake the camera as they go past. Jack Ashton under braking, under pressure as well from Matt Webb round the outside, and it's a good exit out of there, and there's contact further back. Who's involved? And I believe it's
Luke Bennett.
Luke Bennett, our championship leader, down in place, and this is what happened last time around at Brands Hatch at the start in the first corner. He got collected and he went to the back of the grid. We had a great recovery ride, and this is potentially going to shake the championship up because Jack Ashton is in prime position now to take. We need to do the maths. Here's a replay of what happened. Right, okay, so it was 3 cars into 1 corner. It wasn't going to happen, and slots back into position. There is more contact further back. I think that is Victor Tizzon and Stuart French, so your race winner from the previous race in a major accident now in the midfield section, dropping back as we still look at Luke Bennett, now up into 13th place.
There's a slight break away from the championship as well. Costas finishing 2nd, up to 7th in this race. Fantastic start from him. But we see Christian Kelly up top, Jack Ashton, can't believe his luck probably, as Matt Webb, Even Barrett, Matt Richards, Edmund Trevelyan, Costas, Ben Brown, and Matt Gudger-Scott is all the way down in 12th, as we see as well. We haven't really seen what's happened to him, but hopefully we can get a replay.
No, back to the front of the grid, though, and this is where all the action is. Jack Ashton pulling to the outside now for the lead on Christian Kelly. Who's going to break later? It looks like Kelly breaks later. Is he going to try and get the switch back? No, it's great defensive driving from Kelly. Slots back in. Now we go into turn 3. Who's going to get the run into this one here? Jack Ashton all over the back of Christian Kelly. He switches back to the outside. He's trying to throw the dummy on him. Is he going to try and go the long way round here? under braking. Again, Christian Kelly manages to defend that and make that car as wide as he possibly can. What a move from him.
Yeah, Jack Ashton, he really wants to get into first place and drive away here as he sees all his championship rivals slightly further down the field. He needs to take full advantage of this, but Christian Kelly's doing an excellent job of placing his car right where Jack doesn't want him to be. And Matt Webb doing a good job as well, making sure he's not collecting any contact, but he's there just mop up any mistakes.
Yep, Jack going defensive now on the inside into the penultimate corner. Matt Webb's going to have the optimal line through here. He runs slightly wide, though, onto the entry. He's not going to be able to make any move here as they go through the final corner back onto the start-finish straight. Track limits there from the man in 5th place. Matt Richards, he's making a little bit of a mistake there. Yellow flag in Sector 3. It clears quickly, so someone's run a little bit askew from the circuit. But this train of 5 cars for the lead is heating up, really, isn't it?
Well, I think if you're thinking of Jack Ashton, he might be thinking, I need to get into the lead, but really, he just needs to calm it down. Matt is a long way back, and Luke is a long way back. We will do the maths as soon as we can. Oh, there's a big lunge there, and it's not gone well at all. Who was that?
I think that was Ivan, who's made a huge mistake and collected.
They're still going at it as well. No, he's going to go round. Hopefully no one collects him.
That's not what we want to see.
In the middle of the corner. We'll have to get out of the way there.
It's an unsafe rejoin onto the circuit, collecting other drivers. The man who's made the most out of this, Kostas Avram, from 13th place on the grid, or 14th place, I should say, up now into P5, and he's looking for some decent points here, maybe even a podium.
It's a stunning start from Kostas, considering he's in the B final as well. I mean, fair play to him. He's got Edmund ahead of him, Matt Richards, Jack Ashton, Kelly, but he's also got Matt Webb, who was, sitting in 3rd and looking like to mop up some good points. But now he's going to have to get past Kostas.
All eyes are going to be on Luke Bennett. He's up into P10 now in his recovery drive. He's going to be wanting to get up into at least 5th place or 4th place if he's in any contention of holding on to this championship. Kostas running wide onto the track limit, switches over the circuit, almost cuts the nose off the man behind of Matt Webb. Matt Webb goes to the outside now. Who's going to break later as they go through? And that is Sean King looking to the inside as well of Ben Brown. Matt Webb did go round there. That was a bit of a disaster from him there. Yellow flags come out, and he's going to have to rejoin right at the back of the grid.
And breathe? Can we do that, yeah?
And breathe, yeah, we can breathe now.
Yeah, no, we see Kostas going through now. He's fended off some big attacks there, to be fair, and he's come out on top. It depends whether he can get away now, because obviously Ben Brown's going to have he's going to have Sean King up his rear, and we see a replay of that big lunge of Ivan, and that's just, I don't know whether he just missed the braking zone there or if he was trying something, but it didn't go well, and it's gone really bad. And
you saw there he rejoined and collected the back of Matt Webb again, which caused a huge concertina effect, and everyone just piled into everyone there.
We haven't realised, Jack Ashton, race leader.
Oh, yeah, we have. Jack Ashton has got in front of Christian Kelly, so we missed that. Not sure where that happened, but now he's up into the lead. So now he's looking at 35 points. If only we had like a live championship points table that could appear, that would be
or
really
someone on
great.
the YouTube comments who could maybe tell us. Oh no, YouTube comments aren't working. If we can get an Instagram or something.
And I'm going to look at the man sitting next to me, and I'm hoping that he's going to do the maths for me. You go find a table for me, Colin Talbot from Camsport. Thank you very much. You're going to do the maths for me. Thank you, my little helper.
Yeah, I was going to say it's useful to have one of them because the racing is so intense. We can't look away, can we?
No, I can't do maths at this point. So Jack Ashton then leading the way, lap 5, 7/10 of a second clear now from Christian Kelly. Matt Richards holding on into 3rd place. It's all going to lie really on where Luke Bennett can go. As it stands at this moment, Jack Ashton will win the championship if Luke Bennett stays in P9. If Luke Bennett gets up into P3 or 4, it's going to be either joint on point or Luke Bennett's going to have it if he's 3rd. It's one of those. I know it's a bit fuzzy. I think it's roughly around that mark.
Yeah, I can guarantee that if it stays as it is, Jack Ashton wins the championship, which is massive, really, compared to where he started the day in.
Well, yeah. 3rd to 1st
it's impressive.
In one race, and all because of something like that.
There's a yellow in Sector 2, though. I wonder see what that is. Luke Bennett's actually got his way back up to 9th, so he's not going to hang around, Luke. He's clearly very quick.
Oh, Luke is very, very quick out there. Of course, he was on pole position in the qualifying, but of course he had his lap taken away due to track limits.
Indeed.
Maybe that will affect how he drives now in the race, because obviously he doesn't want to get a penalty, and he's using right to the edge of that red curb, isn't he? They are allowed to use that red curb. It's only when they go onto the green. If they stray onto the green Astro, that's where the penalty comes into effect. As you can see here, though, under-braking in towards turn 1.
He's got Ben Bennyworth just ahead of him as well, as we know well from the B final now, really. So all round, the B final lads, apart from Stuart French, unfortunately, have had a good start on this race.
Yes, a very good start, of course. Kostas up into P5. He's probably got a huge gun on his face, I would say. Luke Bennett, then.
Oh, looks like we might have some points coming back.
Are you going to work it out now for us? He's going to work it out now.
Sorry,
so he's got the points.
Sorry, I was a bit premature there.
Yeah, he's going to work it out. You should have grabbed a pen as well. Yeah, pen. Get a pen. Excellent. 47 minutes left on the clock. Then we have only literally just started this race. And oh no, there's mistakes further up. That's 2 positions straight away for Luke Bennett. Now I'm to P7. I'm not sure what happened. Sean King and Ben Bennyworth were involved. I'm not sure if it was a case of follow the leader and go off. And I think Matt Goodger-Scott was involved in that as well. So hopefully we'll try and get a replay of that if we've got it and try and see what happened there, because that has massively gifted Luke Bennett now into P7. So
yeah, I don't think they'll be getting a Christmas card from Jack Ashton anytime soon, because I'm sure that's 2 places he didn't bet he would get so quickly.
No, exactly that. And Luke's got a clear bit of track now in front of him. He can really kind of reel in Ben Brown in front, which I'm sure he will do. Here's a replay then of what happened into turn 3. Sean King at the front, outbraked himself.
Yeah,
Driver behind, outbraked himself, followed him through. So there we go.
Sympathy spin almost there, we could say. Not quite spin, obviously, but it's unfortunate that those 2 went off there.
So no contact, but of course they lost up the tyres. Now the point system is right there. There we go. We're helping you out here, Colin, while commentating. Be grateful. 45 minutes on the clock, and Ben Bennyworth, who we're looking at here, he's got pressure in front and behind at the moment. It's just over a second each side, or less than a second now behind.
That's Matt behind him as well. Matt Goodger-Scott, as I will get his name right fluently one of these days. But Matt Goodger-Scott just behind him, hoping to make up some places and some desperately needed points, unfortunately, from this position. As he sees Luke Bennett trying to stride away from him, he's going to need to get past Ben as soon as he can.
Well, yeah, of course, because obviously in that battle, if Matt Goodger-Scott gets at least 1 point more than Luke Bennett, he will be in front of Luke Bennett in the championship. There's only 1 point between them. But of course, with them being this far down as well, Jack Ashton's going to be jumping the both of them.
Yes, I'm sure Colin will be able to tell us that for sure in a minute.
Yeah,
but Jack, unlike Stuart French in the first race, we don't see Jack pulling away from Christian Kelly as much, or Matt Richards. So the front 3 are also quite close together.
They are indeed. Great battles all the way through this pack. I'm amazed to see how much contact there was in those first couple of seconds. We usually don't see that within the A group. They're usually pretty respective and don't do that. But, of course, these corners are so tight that, you know, when you want to make the apex, you're going to try and hit the apex.
Oh, as we see, as one goes wide, that's Ben Bennyworth going slightly wide. Maybe he had a quick look at his mirrors as Matt showed his nose. To be fair, Ben gave him room, and now Matt's going to try and line up the inside corner for the 3rd. Can he make the apex in the braking zone? We're going to have a look. It's a late break. Ben's giving him the room, to be fair, but he wants to cut back as Matt might go wide. They do get the cut back, but Matt's going to have the inside for the next corner. You can't go too wide into the next corners, but Ben looks to have his nose in front. He's going to shake him off, can he? Ben is ahead of the Matt, and that is Matt trying to make the move, but not quite making it stick quite yet.
So looking at the points, so we've done some maths then. So if Luke Bennett finishes P7, which he currently is, he'll get 27 points and he'll finish 2nd in the championship. He'll get 23 points. And that took us.
While you do that, I'm just going to say that Kostas is trying to line up and move to go into 4th on Edmund. He's going to try into the first corner. Can he brake later? No, he's not going to try it. Is there a little bit of contact? He goes over the curb on the apex, but straight round the outside goes Ben Brown, and that is a great move. But Kostas is going to have the inside for the 3rd corner. Luckily enough for Edmund, he might be able to pull away from this, but Kostas is under trouble here as Ben gets his nose ahead. And he's got that corner there. Luke Bennett's obviously licking his lips at this. He's going to try and get past as quickly as possible, but he gets put wide slightly by Costas. They're going to have to be slightly careful now. No one wants to see a spin at this stage of the race.
Definitely not. 43 minutes left, and Costas, like you say, under pressure from the recovering Luke Bennett, who is very good at recovering, of course, as we saw at Brands GP. So we want to see how quick he can get past Costas, but Costas is not making it easy. Luke Bennett still in 7th place at this rate. Looking at the points that we've got here at the moment, he will finish 2nd in the championship.
As we see Matt Richards flying around there, and Christian Kelly just ahead of him as well, and Jack Ashton pulling a little bit further ahead perhaps as well. These three just minding their way through. They're obviously, maybe Matt is trying to time his attack on Christian, seeing if he'll make a mistake or seeing if he can get him on the pit strategy. It's going to be a close race. There's 3 attempts in it between Matt and 2nd place Christian as well. It's lining up to be a good 42 minutes.
It's going to be an excellent 42 minutes, and looking, like I say, at the points, we've done the maths at the moment. As it stands with the positions literally right now, Jack Ashton will finish 1st in the championship, Luke Bennett will finish 2nd, and Matt Goodgescott will finish 3rd. That's the live points that we're seeing at the moment.
And Matt Richards is attacking Christian around the outside. He's got a nose ahead, but he's on the outside line. He's going to hit track limits, and Christian keeps that position.
Can't quite do it this time. Now another battle further behind. Ben Brown piling on the being piled on the pressure from Edmund there as he slots back into position. Can't quite do anything here. And now these guys are closing up. So this is where the points are all going to start to get a little bit more interesting as Luke Bennett slowly creeps up that order. Luke Bennett down the inside of Costas. Yeah, makes the move done. Almost gets collected on the outside, but gets through. That's another point for Luke Bennett. That still doesn't mean that he's going to be leading. He needs to get up to around 4th or 3rd place.
The summary of all this is, Colin, you can't go anywhere. You need to carry on doing maths. So, Luke has made up another place, and as we see Ben and Edmund starting to fight, Luke will start looking, seeing whether he can see a gap. He's probing away, see if he can show his nose at the inside.
This is going to be a very tense 40 minutes left of this race, just to see what these guys can do round this Red Bull Ring circuit. 8 corners, just over 2 miles of circuit, and these guys are showing us how it's done. And there's a bit of a spin in the background. It's Matt Goodgescott. His championship is over at this rate. If that's happened, he's going to be nowhere in the points, and he's going to be gifting that one to Christian
that's Luke
Kelly.
Bennett going wide as well.
Luke Bennett going wide and maybe picking up that track limits warning. We're going to have to work out the points, but Matt Goodgescott down in 13th place. That could be potentially destroying his championship hopes.
Yeah, I just want to apologise to Matt as well. I will get your name right one of these days. But unfortunately, you see Matt going off and Luke Bennett going slightly wide there. So it'll be interesting to see what the track limit warning he's on now, whether that's his 1st, his 2nd, whether he got one at all. So Costas maybe trying to put him under pressure, and maybe he's feeling that a little bit.
Maybe so, and of course he did get, the penalty in qualifying for the track limits. He's got to watch out during the race because,
of course, the same corner as well.
Yeah, if he gets the drive-through in this race, he's going to hamper any chances of winning this championship. He was currently leading the championship going into this race. At the moment, as it stands with the live championship points, he's now in 2nd place in the championship. He needs to get up those positions without the penalty. 39 minutes left on the clock. We've already lost 15 minutes of this race. That's 15 minutes disappeared very quickly.
As we see Ben Brown going slightly wide there, but I'm questioning where that 15 minutes has gone. It's been a stunning race so far, and you wouldn't think that it's going to be a 55-minute race, the way everybody's attacking the first 15. It's incredible.
It is so, and of course when we get to that pit stop stage, that's where we're going to see the drivers' ingenuity come out with working of trying to get the switchbacks or the jumps on the pit stops or anything like that. But Matt Richards, who was fastest at the last round at Zandvoort, struggling here in P3 at the moment with Christian Kelly in front of him, but he is keeping him on his toes though.
Yeah, I think if I was Matt Richards right now, obviously you don't have the championship to think about, you just have this race. I'd try the undercut. I think I would try and get those new tyres on, maybe see if you can get some clean air, get a few fine laps in. Christian and Jack Ashton might be able to put some clean laps in, but he should have the faster tyre. He should be able to get that lap in, and he might actually undercut Christian and maybe put Jack under pressure.
Exactly that. Now, this is a train of 3 cars that we see here. 2 seconds between the top 3, who are then from 4th all the way down to about 10th. There's only a couple of seconds between them as well. A huge train of cars as they go through that midfield section. All eyes at the moment on 3rd place. as they go through the final couple of corners. Experimenting with the track limits on the inside, but staying away from that green Astro on the outside, crossing the line to start lap 12, or lap 13, I should say, of this race. And Jack Ashton is not pulling away at the moment, but he is staying within those track limits, which is what we want to see. Now, Matt Richards, he had a good exit out of turn 1 there. Is he going to try and get the run up into turn 2? Chris Wilson not going defensive, so he feels like he's not close enough, but that's where driver weaknesses can show. But no, everyone slots back into position as he really closes up there, almost collects the back of Christian Kelly as they go now in towards turn 3 on the straight. Here's further back, Sean King in P9 at the moment after recovering from Ben Bennyworth. They had them at stake earlier on where Luke Bennett managed to get past through turn 3. They're still having a good little scrap at the moment. And of course, Ben Bennyworth up into P8 from starting in 15th place. You know, great start from him. Same with Costas. They're both up the same amount of positions at the moment.
Yeah, I think the lads from the B final are currently putting themselves in good stead. As I say, Costa is, you know, Luke Bennett's not streaked away from him really, and he also hasn't got past Edmund. But as we see Sean King, he's trying to line up a move. He may be thinking about keeping his tyre, keeping him behind him, making sure he's getting that draft, making sure, you know, he can hit that pit stop well. Here we go, Matt Richards. He's actually slightly closer to Christian now. He might be able to get into the braking zone into turn 2 or 3, or maybe even turn 1, but I think that'll be a bit brave for the position he's in now.
It would be very brave from that one. As you can see, these guys still very close. Looking at the points then after Matt Goodgescott's disaster out of the final corner, where he's in now P13. He will have knocked himself off the leaderboard with the current position that Christian Kelly is in. So a new live leaderboard for the top 3 of the championship. Jack Ashton would win with 144 points. Luke Bennett would be second with 139. Then it would be Christian Kelly with 131 race points. Only 1 point Matt needs to get up into that top 3. So Matt needs to finish P11, really, to be 3rd place.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's... I mean, Matt could do that. I mean, looking at it, he's only 13th. But we will say that Luke has... Well, Luke got past Edmund, and now he's gone back behind him. So maybe he did that off camera. But we're looking at Sean King as he lines up an inside move on Ben Bennington. So we look at, can he make the move? Can he make the apex? That's the important bit. Or does he go wide? He keeps it, but Ben's trying to undercut him. As we know, it doesn't go too wide into the next corner. As we have Sean on the inside and Ben on the out. What's going to happen here? Ben's trying to keep his nose there, but oh, yes, I think Sean's just about managed that. Can they get the undercut now? Is he going to dive up the inside? No, he's going to cover that off as well. And Sean's made that move stick. A good move as well. Here's Luke Bennett now.
It was a good move from those guys. Very controlledly done through those mid-section. So Costas up into P6. Luke Bennett's actually gone backwards.
Yeah, he's gone backwards. He must have tried to move on Edmund, or the move on Edmund maybe didn't go quite well, and Costas has got back ahead of him. Actually, Ben Bennington is... Oh, Sean King's just come into the pits there. So Ben might be able to get into him if Costas holds Luke up here.
Yep, Luke Bennett now looking down the inside of Costas through turn 1. Gets the job done. Thank you very much. I'll take that. P6 for Luke Bennett. So that's another point in his favour for the championship standings, trying to catch up to Jack Ashton, who is leading this race now by 1.9 seconds. 34 minutes left on the clock. Costas again looking at the outside on the normal racing line. Luke Bennett going defensive, managing to hold that position off and keeping 6th place at bay. Back here with Christian Kelly and Matt Richards, the battle for 2nd place. They have not broken away from each other, and they've not really lost any time to Jack Ashton. If they have, it's tense.
No, I think when we were doing that mass before, we saw them have a little go at each other, but they've just come out exactly the same positions as when they went in. It'll be interesting to see where Sean King gets involved here as well, because he's tried the undercut now, and he might actually, if he gets some good clean air, which he has got, he might be able to put some pressure on.
Definitely so. I think the undercut is going to be the strategy for this section of the race with these guys on the pit stop. So we'll see what happens when that stage comes around. 33 minutes left on the clock. The pit stop phase is around the 25-minute mark, around that area. The guys would like to change the tyres midway through the race if you can get them last a little bit longer or anything like that. But these guys having a nice controlled race. They're not going for silly moves. They're just trying to work together, I think, to try and keep up with Jack, not let him break away too much.
Yeah, it's worth noting that Christian Kelly was also 4th in the championship going into this final race as well. So he's done very well. He's improved his standings dramatically, I imagine. And as we see him go slightly wide, you know, Matt Richards just putting pressure on him, but he's being respectful. He's not being silly. You know, he knows that maybe Christian's in with the title, and Matt's not. So he wants to beat him, but he's being sensible about it.
I say that, yeah. They say they were working together, but not anymore by the looks of it. I think that rule book's gone out the window because they've opened that gap up now to 2.6 seconds from Jack. Jack's pulled away quite a bit now as these two have been battling away. Matt Richards all over the back of Christian Kelly through this infield section, and he's looking to try and get the move done, probably in towards turn 1 or turn 2. He tried to do it at turn 3 this time around. Christian really pushed him onto the grass on the outside of turn 3 and said, no, you're not having this. And it looks like Matt Richards has kind of backed out of that slowly as he knows that Christian Kelly is not going to be wanting to give him that position. Of course, these guys battling for first, second and third for the podium as well for this round, but of course, for points for the championship.
Yeah, I think Matt Richards must have heard me saying that he was being respectful and patient about it, because all of a sudden he's piled the pressure on Christian, and Christian has had the answers so far. It's just whether or not he can keep hitting his apex. They obviously want podium positions, but Christian wants that championship. Matt's had a bad round. Christian could move up.
Oh,
so apparently Christian and Matt are both on 131 as it stands, and that's if Christian keeps ahead of Matt, which he just does. He's expert car placement here at the moment.
So Matt Goodgescott's actually just popped up into 10th now, but that's purely because Matt Webb and Kostov has pitted for tyres, I believe. So he's jumped up a position at the moment. Whether or not he'll stay there when the pit stop phase comes around, we'll see. At the moment, though, Goodgescott has taken Kelly back off the podium for the championship as it stands. So interesting stuff. They're all still swapping positions.
Yeah, at this stage of the race, it's all about who can do the correct sort of pit stop strategy. And we're doing lots of maths and everything here, but the on-track racing is actually fantastic. We're having a good look at Jack Ashton pull away as well. He's got a 3.8 second lead now, and he must be absolutely loving this as well. Christian Kelly is still just holding off Matt Richards, and as I say, I think he's piling the pressure on. He's having an answer at every single point. We're having a look at Luke Bennett. He's still behind Edmund and Ben Brown as well, so they haven't come into the pits. But we've had Costas, and that's why Scott has moved up as well. It'll be interesting to see what Christian can do here. It's just whether or not he keeps hitting his apex, he keeps getting that drive. But Matt Richards, he's no closer than he ever has been. He's just not been able to get past. If he can make this dive up the inside, it'll be a fantastic move into turn 3.
I think it would be a good move. Sorry, I just had to get some new batteries for my microphone. You probably want to check yours because I think it's flashing. So, yeah, I'll give you a little break now as you go replace yours. So 30 minutes left on the clock then. And here is Edmund Trevelyan then in 4th place. He's under pressure from Luke Bennett. Luke Bennett looking down the inside. It's a very late lunge. Gets it done. There's a little bit of contact, but gets through nice and clean. So that is Luke Bennett up into P4. And this really shakes the championship points up. I think they're actually now level on points. I think Jack Ashton and Luke Bennett are level on points now. I think Luke Bennett needs another spot. I could be wrong, but let's find out. The man with the maths is going to do the maths because I can't do maths. So he's going to try that for me. But Edmund is going to try and come back down here on the inside of turn 4. Is he going to try and make it done? He is back down the inside here for turn 5 as well. And he gets that move done. It's the Lauda corner, and he's through again. Nicely done through the flat out turn 6 into 7. What a move from Edmund, denying Luke Bennett that P4 and getting that position up. And Jack Ashton will be loving that. Jack Ashton, though, in the pit lane. He's pitted for tyres. Christian Kelly also pitted for tyres. These two haven't. They've stayed out, and so has Matt Richards. So Matt Richards now is your race leader. And now these guys are going to pass these two as they just in the pit lane now. Yes, they do. So Edmund up into 2nd place. Luke Bennett now into 3rd. Jack Ashton in 4th. So championship tables have all switched over now, but we need to see how much these guys can break away. So, okay, so looking at the points, Luke needs to be in P2 if Jack wins the race. That's what we need. And at the moment, Luke Bennett's in 3rd place, and he's got the pressure from Edmund all over in front of him. He's tried to get in front of him, but Edmund got back, and he's denying him the time. And there's Jack Ashton just behind on the fresh set of tyres. So with these two squabbling, and Jack Ashton on the fresh set of tyres and closing in on these guys. And here again, Luke Bennett down the inside, eye of the needle. There's a little bit of contact again. It pushes him wide and closes back again. He's got the job done in the same corner. It's a good move as these guys go through. So Luke Bennett, as it stands now, Luke Bennett would win the championship, but of course he needs to pit still. Jack Ashton's already done that, so when he comes through, he comes through. So Ben Brown has also pitted as well in P7. So it's all kind of switcherooed at the moment.
Yes, I've just got sound that Ben Brown has pit. That's why Luke Bennett has jumped him and everything like that. And Matt Richards has gone into the pit as well by the looks of it. Apologies about taking so long. I couldn't figure out how to get the batteries out of the microphone, but we're back now. So, yeah, Matt Richards has apparently gone into the pit, and we got a yellow in Sector 1, so we'll see what that's about.
Well, that's cleared quite quickly, so I suspect it was just someone going a little bit wide on track limits. Matt Richards pits then. He drops back. That puts Jack Ashton back into P3. Luke Bennett leads from Edmund, but these two haven't pitted. So first place hasn't pitted, Edmund hasn't pitted, but Jack Ashton has, and he's right behind him. So that just shows the jump that Jack's got on these two.
Yeah, and I think on the fresh tyres, if anything's going to be on the back of them, he'll be wanting them to pit ASAP. He wants that clean air. You know, he doesn't want to get messed up with having to battle with, well, they're not even back markers at this point. They're battling for position. Luke Bennett would be fully within his rights to try and hold Jack Ashton up, but I don't think we're doing much good.
There is no point for Jack Ashton to do that, though. There is no point, because these two haven't pitted yet. He might as well just stay behind them, just look after his tyres, keep them fresh, no need to battle, wait until those guys pit, and then you're in front, and of course it's, 15 seconds for a pit stop, so then they're going to be 15 seconds behind him, and I suspect 15 seconds, you know, these guys, P8, P9.
Very true, yeah. I mean, as we see Jack Ashton, he's making a move here.
Of course he isn't going to wait, though, is he?
Edmund, no, that's what I was saying. I didn't think he was going to wait. He wants to get past. If he was sensible, he would wait, obviously. As Edmund is just heavily defending. I don't think he's going into the pits. I think he's just defending. But there we go. Luke Bennett has jumped into the pits, and now Edmund is holding him up. So Jack's going to have to either get past him. Well, actually, it doesn't really matter if he does or doesn't. That's what you were saying before, isn't it?
Well, it doesn't matter, but he is going for it. Edmund goes defensive into turn 1. Here comes Jack Ashton round the outside. He's going to go for the long way round. He can't quite do it. Gets the switch back, and now under power. It's up the hill now. It's going to be a case of who can get up the gears quicker as they go up the hill. Both in the slipstream. Jack furiously flashing his headlights at Edmund as they go into the braking zone of turn 2. He pulls out in towards the clean part of the track. He's on the favourable line through turn 2. Edmund now brakes himself again. Jack going for the cutback here. He's got it. He's on the inside now onto the start-finish straight and in towards turn 2. Can he pull out in front? Yes, he can. Jack Ashton back up into P1.
Well, he did that expertly well, to be fair, but I think if, from a race engineer's perspective, he had a race engineer in his ear. Oh, no, he's been touched!
And Edmund has hit.
And Christian's hit him.
And Edmund has hit Jack Ashton. And Edmund has led him back through, and Jack understandably is furious in the background, and that's played havoc with the championship. Now, at the moment, Jack is still in 3rd place. He has still got a chance of doing this. My man with the maths is going to do the maths. He's going to work out for this for us. Matt Goodge's got something to P4. I don't think he's pitted yet, though, so he's going to drop back down soon. But where is Luke Bennett? He's in P10. If Jack Ashton could get back in front of these two, he's still in for a chance.
I mean, Christian and Matt aren't going to give this up without a fight as well. Edmund didn't really have any chance of making that move. I think he just outbraked himself.
It was a very, very ambitious move from Edmund there. It wasn't ideal. Matt Goodgescott now has pitted, and here is Edmund under pressure from Ben Brown. I'm not sure what the thought process was there, because, you know, it was the race of the lead. He had fresh tyres. You didn't. Oh, no, and there's contact from Sean King in the back. No one spins, but, yeah, that's definitely not ideal. So Sean King returning the favour by the looks of it.
I mean, obviously we're disappointed for Jack, but I imagine, as we were saying before he got turned around, if there was a race engineer in his ear, he'd be telling him to chill out.
Yeah.
He didn't need to try and get past him that quickly. You know, Edmund might have been pitting the next lap.
But yeah, so yeah, like you say, he didn't need that to happen. He didn't need to go for that move, but he did it anyway. But to be fair, Edmund, he did slow down. He gave the position back to Jack, and again, outbrakes himself slightly there. That's his tyres. His tyres are gone. He needs to pit for fresh tyres. Everyone else is pitted. Just Edmund.
Well, it's a mystery how he hasn't, especially after outbraking himself into that previous lap and turning Jack round. But apparently I've just had word that Kostas has jumped Luke Bennett in the pits as well. So Luke's actually nothing's really going his way at the moment, apart from Jack getting turned around, but he's still come out in 3rd.
So we're gonna try and work out the points then for the championship as it stands, with Christian Kelly leading the race, with Jack Ashton in 3rd and Luke Bennett in 9th place. We'll try and work that out for you in terms of points and how that stands. Of course, that really plays into Christian Kelly's head, but he's under pressure from Matt Richards now, right behind him. This is the battle for the lead up into turn 2. Matt Richards looks to the inside. He isn't alongside yet.
He should have the line, though. Oh, no. Christian Kelly's his car placement is expertly done. Every single lap, he's been on the right part of the track. It's very good driving from him.
He has. Yeah, he kind of positioned it right in the middle of the circuit. He didn't go right to the inside. He didn't go right to the outside. It was perfect right in the middle, and there was just nowhere for Matt Richards to go. With these two scrapping as well, that's going to allow Jack Ashton to close back up. The gap currently is 3.1 seconds, and it is going down 2.9, 3.0. Again, it's fluctuating around that 3-second mark. We'll see that drop down. The battle between Bennyworth and Victor, that's 3 seconds between those two, so that's closing up as well. 22 minutes left on the clock, and the battle for first place, there's only 3 seconds between the top three, and there is Costas down the inside of Matt Webb through turn 4. He's trying to get that move done through turn 5 as well. Gets it done, and Luke Bennett's going to try and follow him through as well.
Yep, and he does it just about. Can he get his nose in front? Because he's going to be on the outside for this next corner. I think he's got his nose in front. If the camera ever gets there, yep, there we go. Luke Bennett's through on Matt Webb as well, so he's lost out on 2 places then. All of a sudden, the maths changes again. Please, Mr. Maths. So we're having a look at Jack Ashton. Obviously, he's pulling up a little bit towards Matt and Christian. We see Luke Bennett. He's trying to pull the move on Costas around the outside, but I don't think he's going to make it. Will Matt Webb try and have a look? No, he's gone wide, but Costas has gone wide as well, and Luke Bennett says, thank you very much. Those are championship points straight in his back pocket.
Yep, and that is making the championship very interesting now. With the positions as it stands with Luke Bennett in 6th place, Jack Ashton needs to get back in the lead.
Oh, that's ambitious by Costas, though, and Luke... Oh, he's been turned around!
And commentators curse with the championship points.
Ben's gone into him as well.
Yeah, he was stationary on the circuit. He hadn't rejoined. He'd come to a halt there. And, of course, Ben had nowhere to go. Huge drama. Luke Bennett now back down into P10. It's not what he wants, and this puts it right back into Jack Ashton's pocket. The championship table, at the moment, if it was live, would be jumping up and down, and it wouldn't be staying still, would it?
I think we need to program a live championship table for the next time, because this is amazing stuff, really, especially to come into the finale. Everything's on the line. I have to say, nothing's gone Luke Bennett's way this race, hasn't it?
It hasn't, has it? He's had penalties for track limits. He's had contact further on, and he's had little mistakes here and there, and it's just all falling apart for his 2019-2020 season here at the DTM Championship. He's down in P9 at the moment. He's 21 seconds away from the race lead, and if Jack Ashton wins, Luke Bennett needs to come second.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be a tall order now. But, I mean, Jack, he's still 2.4 seconds behind. He's made up half a second in the 2 laps that we've been focusing on. Otherwise, Christian Kelly's still car placement. You can't get round and round the outside of that part of the track. And, I thought he was going to come across and tag the back of him there, to be fair. But well done, Matt Richards, for coming off the throttle.
It looked almost from that, wasn't it? But he's right on the back of him now, going in towards turn 3. Pulls out the slipstream on the outside. Again, the long way round. Christian Kelly holds on to that. He's going to try and defend from the switchback. And again, it goes alongside. Again, he's on the outside. He's positioning this car beautifully to keep Matt Richards behind him. He keeps him on the outside of the circuit, the slippy part, the part that you can't get the traction on, keeps him behind, holds on to that lead. Christian Kelly still leading this race, but these two are not giving each other any room for error, are they?
I think if you come in not watching esports a lot before, and you come in watching these two, thinking about how close they can be racing without touching, being clean and fair. It's fantastic to see. It's really a good standard of racing over here.
It is very good standard of racing. Yellow flags in Sector 1. They clear quickly, so someone again with a little bit of a spin. There's probably Edmund, who's down in 15th place at the moment in the pit lane. So there you go. He's just coming out the pit lane now.
But he could get in the way of Jack Ashton. He's now within 1.5 seconds of these guys, so he's really caught up with them fighting around.
Yeah, he has closed up. Jack's managed to get past him. Of course, if Edmund did get in front, he'd have the blue flags because he's now been lapped. So the fact that he was racing at the front of this, after those collisions and when he did his pit stop, he's gone right to the back of the grid, which just shows how fierce and competitive this whole grid is.
Well, unfortunately for Edmund, he just didn't pit, did he? And he had a few mistakes on the older tyres. And now, Costas has gone into the pits as well, so I wonder what's happened there. But, yeah, so Jack Ashton has caught back up to these guys. He's now within 1.5 seconds of the leader, let alone Matt Richards, who's still putting pressure on Christian. He's not as close this lap round.
So at the moment, as it stands with Jack in P3, Luke where he is and Christian where he is leading the race, the championship would be as follows. Jack Ashton would win with 137 points. Luke Bennett would be second place with 136 points. Luke Bennett just needs 2 more positions then if Jack stays in third to take the championship win, and Christian Kelly will be on 135 race points. There's 2 points between the top 3.
The thing is, I don't think Jack is going to try and stay where he is anyway, is it? He's going to try and take it. Considering as well, the top 5 places, there's a bigger points difference. After 5th, there's only 1 point difference between each place, all the way down to 15th. But first to second, there's a point difference of 4 points, then 3 points, then 2 points, then 1 point, and further 1 point even further down. So the higher Jack Ashton can get, the further away he gets from Luke Bennett.
Yeah, exactly that. Of course, if Jack can gain another position, Luke needs to get another 4 positions instead of 2.
Exactly.
You know, he needs to really close in, does Luke Bennett. But of course, every time he tries to get past, he always has a little collision, a little moment here, through no fault of his own. But, you know, it's not what you want. It's not ideal. And, you know, with 17 minutes left on the clock, he's running out of time to do that.
17 minutes left. That's a long time, isn't it? But Matt is going to have a lineup with Bennyworth now. And he's outbroken. Oh, there's a little bit of contact. He did outbreak himself, Matt, there, so it's probably fair enough. I think Ben just tried to get the car rotated and found Matt was in his way, but no one spins and everyone's back to where they were. As we see Victor also sort of driving off a little bit from this battle here, that'd be good for him.
Yep. So Matt Good just got there. Tried that little move there. Kind of didn't work.
No, unfortunately not.
Ran off. Just outbraked himself, which is a shame because, you know, Matt, who's second place in the championship at the moment, and, you know, he needs to be in front of Luke Bennett, but I just don't think it's going to be happening. It looks like Matt's championship hopes at the moment are not looking great. No,
and he's having a good fight with Ben here, but we cut back to Jack Ashton. Now, Matt and Christian have got a bit of a bigger gap nowadays than they used to have, but Jack needs them to close up and start fighting again so he can sort of pick off some scraps here.
Well, he's closed the gap up between the top 2 now. So there's only 1.6 seconds between the top 3. Christian Kelly, after his little close encounters with Matt Richards, has managed to pull away a bit of a gap. Here's Matt Webb on Sean King up into turn 2. No moves there. They're kind of staying in a little bit of the train, probably holding on to each other because they know that these guys up in front are scrapping. They're kind of just working together, stay where they are because they potentially, if they make a mistake up top, you know, these guys are in position for a podium.
Indeed, and I've noticed that the person behind them is Stuart French.
Oh, well, there you go.
What a recovery driver he's had. We've hardly mentioned him since his unfortunates at the beginning of this race, but that was a long time ago. He's doing very well to get himself back up there. He's almost swapped places with Costas, which is unfortunate for Costas.
Yeah, Costas, obviously, who was up into P5 at one point, had a great one. Ben Bennyworth as well, he's up into P10. But yeah, Stuart French, a great recovery drive from him. Like I say, he was at the back of the grid having crashes the first lap, but all the way back now into P7. So great drive from him.
Indeed, yeah. And actually, we see at the front, obviously, we're focusing on Matt at the moment, but until he puts a move on, let's just have a look at the times on the left. With Matt Richards, he's dropping off Christian. He's not reining him in as close as he used to have. But I think Matt Webb's going to have a good run on him now. We skip around and we see Matt Webb running on to Sean King. Can he get the inside of this first corner? He's slipping up there. Who breaks later? And Matt has got the corner. Very well done. Can Stuart get the run on those two now to get into the mix for the next 2 corners? That is the question.
Yeah, we'll wait to see what happens at the latter part of this race. 14 minutes left on the clock then. The gap at the top, very, very close still as Sean King, again, not going for a move there, slotting back into position and staying where he is. So Matt Webb up into P5 now. Back further up, here's Matt Richards, your second place man. Jack Ashton very close behind. And Edmund, of course, who's running at the back, has kind of latched onto the back of Jack now. Of course, he doesn't want to overtake Jack. Well, there's nothing stopping him from overtaking Jack, I have to say, because there's nothing stopping a back marker from overtaking. But would you do it?
I mean, after what happened before, I think I would probably let off a little bit.
Yeah, I'd say I've already hit you off once. I'm not going to attempt to do it again. And he's looking down the inside of him. I wouldn't want to do that. I'd probably want to stay behind.
The problem is, if Edmund tries it and he gets it wrong,
yeah,
I can imagine Will Chigurtha and the organisers will have something to say about it, to be honest.
Well, I'm really hoping that he could just help Jack push along. After making that mistake, he's going to be a sportsman and just, you know, I'm going to help you push back up here. Let's give you the bump draft. Let's push you up this hill as well, and not fight you. And I hope that's what happens because, you know, I wouldn't want to see him go for another move and play havoc with Jack, you know, especially when he's fighting for the championship.
I mean, there are bigger things at stake, unfortunately.
Yes.
I'm just having a look at the top 3 as well, and in terms of best lap times, Matt Richards, fastest man of the 3. Oh, we're having just a little look at Stuart French. Do you just want to take that off me?
Yeah, Stuart French there was being forced off the grass slightly there by Sean King, who pushed him right onto the grass. He's going to try and get the switchback now here. This is the move for 6th place. And I think he might have the move here as he's down the inside. Sean tries to go defensive, but Stuart still got a nose in front of Sean as they go into the braking zone at turn 3. Down the inside under braking. Has he outbraked himself? No, he hasn't. Gets the move done. Sean tries to come back at him, though, here, but he's on the outside. He's not on the favourable line here for this corner, and I think that's job done for Stuart French. Up into P6. Great work from him.
Yeah, I'm just having a look at the top 3 now, and Matt Richards' fastest lap was a 22.3. Okay, so that is an extremely fast lap. It is half a second quicker than Jack Ashton's fastest lap, and it's 7/10 quicker than Christian Kelly, who's currently leading his fastest lap. So clearly, Matt is the fastest driver of the 3 in this race, if you're talking about full-out pace on one lap. But at the moment, he's stuck behind Christian.
Yeah, well, I have to say, you saw that gap. It was open up. It was over a second. He put that 1:22 in, and he's massively closed that gap. It's 0.2 of a second, and he's in striking distance for that race lead again.
Oh, he's going
Christian
for it.
Kelly makes a mistake, runs wide, and now Matt Richards is side by side. So here we go, in towards turn 3. He's got the favourable line. Christian Kelly can't really do anything here. He can't squeeze him because he is fully alongside into the braking zone here at turn 3. Who brakes later? It looks like it was Matt Richards, and he gets that job done.
That's cracking car control right there as well. He went in hot, and he managed to get that thing turned.
Yep, still managed to clip the apex. Of course, those tyres, he looked after them. He did have a little bit of battle, I have to say, but he's not fighting too hard. So that is...
Here we go. Luke Bennett, he's watching Stuart French and Sean King have a little battle as well. Can Luke Bennett mop up some more points here? He's in desperate need of them now, as Jack Ashton is sort of latching onto the back of that little battle up ahead. Stuart French is still ahead of Sean King here.
Definitely so, with where Jack is still in 3rd place. If Luke Bennett gets these 2 positions, it could be back in Luke Bennett's pocket. Again, this table is going up and down in terms of the championship standings. So he's got Sean King in front of him. Where's he going to go here? This is a tricky part of the track to overtake on because someone's always bound to go wide as they go through, stay single file through here, all just within those track limits as they go through the final corner. Again, Luke Bennett running wide. Now, here comes Luke Bennett on the outside. Sean King goes defensive. He holds onto that inside line. It looks like Luke Bennett's just going to get him on the straight here under power.
Oh, late break there by Sean, though. Is he going to go wide or is he going to keep it? Oh,
No,
a little back-end squiggle.
Absolutely beautifully marked on the brakes, but Luke Bennett's got the switchback now, so he could see that happening, and now he's got in front, and he's nothing Sean can do. He goes into the slipstream now. Is he going to pull back out under braking onto the outside on the favourable line? Who's going to take it? Luke Bennett's going to hold it, but is it Sean King going to get the switchback? No, he doesn't. So that is another position for Luke Bennett. So up into P7 for now, and that is another point in Luke Bennett's back pocket.
No, I think that was a good move as well. He made it concise. He made it decisive. And they make the apex there. That's always a bit of a dangerous corner as people outbrake themselves. We've seen a fair few contact there before. But no, that's a good move by Luke. He's managed to get that, and I'm sure he'll be aiming to gun down Stuart French in the next car ahead of him.
Yeah, so Stuart French, next car. Here's the battle further up, and Jack Ashton still in P3 at the moment. Christian Kelly is his new target now, as Matt Richards managed to get past after setting an astonishing 122.3. Fastest lap of the race, and probably fastest lap of the day so far that we've seen. So I don't know what happened there, but he really pulled the pin on that one. Now, Edmund, he's still behind. It looks like he's backed off now. I mean, he is in 15th place. He has got the pace. He was battling with Jack Ashton earlier on for the lead, but, you know, he's now in 15th. There's no need to battle.
Ooh, I thought that was a late break. I thought he might have outbroke himself there. Yeah, to be fair, we might have been a bit harsh to Edmund before. I think he's just trying to keep pace and look. He's got the best seat in the house in terms of a championship now. I think he's just spectating along with the rest of us.
Definitely so. As it stands then, with Luke Bennett in 7th place, Jack Ashton and Luke Bennett are joint leaders of the championship with 137 championship points. Now, this is going to be interesting. Jack needs to get another spot. If Jack does get another spot, he gets an extra 2 points, meaning Luke Bennett would need to get an extra, need to go up into 5th, But if Jack Ashton stays where he is and Luke Bennett gets another position, Luke Bennett's leading the championship. So that's where we're going to need to watch. We're going to need to see where the gap is.
Oh, is
between
Edmund going to have a look at the inside?
French. No, Edmund's not going to try. If he does, I'll be very disappointed in him. But there we go as he goes through. He stays behind. But Luke Bennett then, he's 21 seconds behind the race leader. He's 1.5, 1.3 seconds behind Stuart French. That is where he needs to overtake. And in terms of lap times, Luke Bennett is faster than Stuart French. So the chances of Jack losing this championship at this rate is quite high. He needs to get past Christian Kelly.
I mean, there's 8 minutes left. Do you have any idea where this race has disappeared on?
I've got
8 minutes. So how many? That must be about 5 or 6 laps now, and we have literally the championship still in the balance. We are drawing on points. It's an incredible race.
It is incredible to see, and you know, Jack, I don't know if he's doing the maths in his head. He probably isn't, but you know, he probably doesn't know where he is on the championship. He probably doesn't know that he's battling for the lead of this championship, and all he needs to do is get past Christian Kelly. I know Jack's mentality, he's going to go for the move when he can, when he gets that position, but if and when it happens is yet to be seen. And when is Luke Bennett going to get past Stuart French? You know, he's not got past him yet, but the gap is still now about a second between those two. Yellow flags in sector 1. I'm not sure what's caused that. They disappear now, though, quickly. So, again, it was probably just a spin, but 7 minutes left on the clock, and it's all to play for the championship still.
Well, if Jack had any idea where he was in the championship or where his competitors were, doesn't really matter. He needs to go all out attack now. There was a point in the race that he could have chilled out after that pit stop, but now, no, he needs to go at him. He needs to make sure he's putting them under pressure. He needs to make that move.
Yeah, as it stands, of course, joint first, but no one wants a joint first. There's Luke Bennett on Stuart French. There's the gap. It's about the same distance between what Jack Ashton's got with Christian Kelly. It's crucial that Jack gets past Kelly, but then it's also crucial for Luke to get past Stuart French. It's who's your money on, really.
Yeah, well, in that last lap, actually, he was only a tenth quicker, Luke Bennett, and the lap before that, it was about half a second in Stuart's favour, but he did make that move, to be fair, as well. So, yeah, I couldn't call it here. It's exciting at the highest level, basically. We're going to have Luke sort of aiming up a move on Stuart, and it's how well Stuart can place that car. If he's anything like Christian Kelly in terms of racecraft, Luke's going to have a hard time.
He's going to have a very, very hard time as he gets through. 6 minutes left on the clock. We're slowly running out of time here. Luke needs to get this position as soon as possible. And Jack, if he holds on to third, he's not going to win this championship. He needs to get past Christian Kelly. So it's a two-way battle at the moment as we switch back to Jack Ashton. Now he needs to get in front of Christian Kelly here. He looks like he's a little bit closer now, the closest he's been through this race, through the final couple of corners as they go down. Edmund is really close, though, almost goes into the back of Jack. It closes onto that now as they go back onto the start-finish straight. At the moment, the championship is stuck on 137 points apiece, but it does go over, of course, to race wins, I think, as we just found out. So, but yeah, it's a very, very close championship on this one. What did you find out?
Well, I found out that, like most championships, it's down to the amount of race wins you get. And they've just gone away to work that out. Clearly, we didn't think that was going to happen today, but it's been such a spectacular race and series of events that, you know, we're looking at Luke Bennett sizing up Stuart French. He could still not finish on joint points, but we're looking at Jack Ashton lining up Christian Kelly. I don't know where to look, but we're looking at Luke Bennett lining up Stuart French now. Can he make the move up the inside of the second corner? He's going for it, and Stuart French has given him the room, and he's made it stick as well. So all of a sudden, the cards are in Luke's court.
There we go. So Luke Bennett is now your new championship leader with one more point than Jack Ashton, but Jack Ashton has got 2 points staring at him right in the face. It's just in front of him, Christian Kelly. He needs to get past him. Well, it's 3 points that he'll get if he gets past Christian Kelly here. So 3 points in front of him, and he needs to get past. With how it stands at the moment, Jack Ashton is going to finish second place in the championship. He needs to get past Christian Kelly, and it's the closest he's ever been. He's breathing down his neck now as they go into the final couple of corners. 4 minutes left on the timer. We're going into the final couple of laps now. If he's going to make a move, it needs to be now as they go through, because he wants to pull a gap as well, just in case, because if Luke Bennett manages to get another couple of positions, if he gets past Matt Webb or Ben Brown, but we're looking at those gaps, he's got 7 seconds to close in on these guys. It's not going to happen. All that needs to happen now is Jack Ashton getting past Christian Kelly. If he does it, Jack wins. If he doesn't do it, Luke Bennett wins.
Yeah, and it took Matt Richards about 40. I thought he was going to do it then. It took Matt Richards about 40 minutes to get past Christian Kelly last time. Jack's got about 3.5 minutes to do it. So, what are you thinking here? Who's going to be brave enough to call this one?
Well, Jack Ashton is incredibly good at overtaking. Christian Kelly, however, is very good at defending. And again, super close under braking here through turn 3. Jack Ashton is all over the back of Christian Kelly, but it just looks like he hasn't got the pace to get that car alongside as they go through turn 4 again. It's the closest they've ever been through turn 4, now towards turn 5. They both run slightly wide onto the Astro. It looks like a better line on the inside for Jack Ashton. It looks like he's closed that gap. Now he's going to try to switch to the inside here in towards the penultimate corner. It's the closest he's been. He pulls out of the slipstream. He looks to the inside. Can he do it here? No, he slots back again. There's the first attempt. Is he going to attempt it into the final corner? They both run wide. There's both a track limits warning there as they go onto the start-finish straight now. That was a very close move there and the closest opportunity that he had so far.
Yeah, he's definitely going to need to work. They both need to watch out on those track limits, but I imagine Jack will be thinking about the second corner here. He needs to get a clean apex and a clean exit as Christian runs wide a little bit, and he's going to have the opportunity, Jack Ashton, to look up the inside. Christian's going to close it off. He's going to look to the outside now. He's jinking left and he's jinking right. Can he do it? He's going on the outside. It's never going to work around the outside of turn 2, or is it?
It looks like Christian Kelly's outbraked himself and he's gifted that position to Jack Ashton. Now Jack Ashton with those 3 extra points. That's massively opened this championship up to Jack Ashton's favour. It's back now with Jack Ashton's pocket. Luke Bennett needs to finish in about P4 now to get that championship back in his. He managed to close up a couple of seconds, but as it stands, Jack Ashton leads the championship only by a couple of points, though.
Well, I mean, I couldn't see that happening. I think Christian has been so on the money with his car placement over the past 40 laps. Maybe the tyre degradation got away with him a little bit. Maybe he just missed his braking zone. Maybe he was driving in his mirrors. Who knows? But hopefully, we can all keep it clean, and maybe Jack Ashton can walk away with this. It depends if Luke Bennett can really put some flying laps in, but he probably only has this lap and one more to do it.
It is all down to Luke Bennett now. He's P6 at the moment. He's got 4 seconds between himself and the man in front of Matt Webb. Here he is now. We're on board with only 1 minute, 25 seconds left on the clock. It's a tall order to get 4 seconds in that time. It doesn't look like it's going in Luke Bennett's way. He's had drama all the way through this race with crashes left, right and centre. And with the penalty that he got in qualifying, pushing him to 5th place as well, it's not been a favourable race for him. Again, another little bit of a track limits there. I don't know if race control saw it. They've probably definitely heard it now because of me, so I apologise, Luke. But with 1 minute left on the clock, I think we're on final lap, depending on how far ahead Matt Richards is as we cut to him now. I think this is final lap.
Yeah, and I think Luke Bennett, he's not going to have a chance of catching anybody else up, but it's whether or not Jack Ashton can keep this calm. The ball is in his court this time, as Matt Richards, we see, rounding the 3rd corner for what will be probably the last time. And we have to take a breath. Matt Richards, well done to him. Fair play. We've been focusing on the championship, but it's a good race ran by him.
Yep, 2 rounds in a row with 2 race wins at this rate. 26 seconds on the clock. Is he going to squeeze an extra lap in? Because he's at the back end of the circuit now. He's only got 2 more corners to go. I reckon if this is going to be the last lap, it's going to be right to the line, though, if there's going to be a couple of seconds left. But as it stands as well, with the points, Matt Goodger-Scott's back into 3rd place in the championship. 5 seconds left. It's going to be very close to where the checkered flag is. 2 seconds, 1 second. The race finish line is there.
And that is the checkered flag. I think I see a little man waving that.
Yep, finish has come up. So the checkered flag has come out. So Matt Richards wins. Jack Ashton, though, takes the first DTM championship by only a mere couple of points from Luke Bennett, who just missed out by a few seconds. And you can see the guys in front. That was the points he needed in front, and he's missed out on it for the first DTM season by a couple of points. I'd be devastated.
I mean, nothing seemed to go Luke Bennett's way. The fact that he came back and he finished 6th, it's a testament to how quick that guy is.
Really, really is. Yellow flags in sector 2. I'm sure that's down to these guys, but there he is, your new championship winner of the 2019-2020 SRDTM Championship, Jack Ashton.
Yeah, well done, Jack. It's, as I said, it's unfortunate for Luke, and I have to say well done for Matt, as we see Luke driving off. Well done to Matt as well, and Christian Kelly, and everybody else who's joined in the championship. It's been fantastic watched today, and both the B final and the A final. It's been a privilege to come down and commentate on it, and I'm sure, Anthony, you'll feel the same way I do. It's a thrilling race.
A very thrilling race then. So I have got the final championship points. Hopefully they're correct with my man with the maths. They could not be correct, but I'm sure they are. He works hard. So Jack Ashton then wins the championship on 140 championship points. Luke Bennett, second place with 138 points. And Matt Goodgescott, even after his spin at the final quarter, going all the way back to 13th place, looked like his championship was over. He has managed to hold on to third place with 134 race points.
That's a top effort, that is.
That is a very, very close end to a final, and probably the closest championship that we've seen here. And I think this is where Jack Ashton's going to do the inaugural donuts at the final corner, which he does there. Absolutely fantastic. Matt Richards, the same as well on the outside. Don't clip the rear of the car. As I think, I hope he's got enough fuel for that. But they've taken them off the track now. But what a final that was. I need a drink of water. There's my bottle. What a final that was.
Yeah,
to the line.
I mean, as I said at the beginning of the stream, that it's my first ever commentary gig. First time commentating on this sort of thing as well. And I picked a good one. So thank you very much for Simply Race. And thank you very much, Anthony, for guiding me through it. I hope everyone enjoyed it at home. Congratulations to everyone who was involved, not just obviously the championship contenders, but to everyone who got a podium today. And I can't wait to actually watch the podium in a couple of minutes.
Yep, so we'll have the podium in a couple of minutes. Stick around. We'll also chat to the top 3 drivers and, of course, the championship winners as well. Stick around. We'll get those over to the sofa, so please don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a moment. So, welcome back. Hopefully you are still joining us as we've got our third place man from the race, Christian Kelly. Now, Christian, all the way to the end of that race, you were battling away with the likes of Matt Richards and, of course, Jack Ashton. You were looking incredibly strong and the great defensive positioning and driving that you had out there. But right to the end, third place, though, it's still a podium and it's still a great drive from you. Absolutely fantastic. How do you feel from it?
Thank you. I feel all right. What happened? Look, I'm not as fast as those guys. It's quite as simple as that. So I made 2 mistakes, and 2 mistakes cost me 2 positions, and that's what I'll take from it. It's fine. Coming third that's rubbish, really, because actually I want to win. That's why I'm here. So it's bittersweet, and I've learned that I'm not the fastest, but I can defend, and that's the racecraft part is what has really improved coming here, to be perfectly honest with you. So yeah. I'm somewhere in the middle.
You're so and so with it. Now, there was huge drama behind you with Jack. Now, you made that little mistake going into turn 2. If Jack had stayed behind you, Luke Bennett would have won the championship, but because Jack got in front of you, Jack won it by 2 points.
Good for them.
Oh, sorry.
Look, man, it doesn't matter to me. I'm racing against them, and whoever wins, I'm not going to be the...
It's just, but that pressure on your head, knowing that, you know, those guys are with you, and your driving is excellent. I would have made mistakes much, much more, but your driving was just on point through that, man.
Yeah, defensively, it was all right. I made a couple of mistakes, so look, I beat myself up. Thank you so much.
You got past those guys. You smashed it.
Yeah, thanks.
You smashed it out there, man.
I'm my own worst critic. What can I say? But I'm happy with it. It's
Yeah.
fine. Whoever won, well done. Congratulations. It wasn't in my mind. All my mind was,
yeah, your
I've had a
mind
bit of a iffy season and I finished strongly. So hopefully it sets me up for whatever else I do next, whether it's endurance or sprint racing.
Mate, you would have beaten me out there hands down. I would have.
Is that a compliment? I don't really know.
Yeah.
Okay, it is. Okay, good.
No, but mate, well done.
Thank
P3,
you very much.
Fantastic job.
Appreciate it. Cheers. Hope it was
Spot on.
fun.
Yes, yeah, spot on.
Thanks, man.
Well, third place there. Christian Kelly will get second place. Where is second place? Jack Ashton. Come over. There we go. Don't bother doing your hair. How was that? You can relax now.
Oh, I'm absolutely knackered, mate. There's a lot of motions going on.
I can imagine. So, we were doing the maths here. I don't know if you knew, but you were behind Christian at the last couple of laps. At that point, Luke Bennett was leading the championship.
I had it in my mind because I was thinking, I knew that from fourth onwards, it's just 1 point between each driver after that. And I knew he was sixth, so he was only a few points behind them. Couldn't do the maths in my head while racing. But I just thought the only way is just to keep racing and keep trying to push and keep just trying to get first. Don't worry about anything else. But not being too aggressive, get myself a penalty, because that's just the worst thing that could happen. And obviously Christian seemed to have a few issues of getting the braking zones right, and later on in the race, and it helped out for me and paid off, got it somehow.
Talk us through what happened at turn 3 earlier on in the race.
You probably heard.
I did hear.
Across the venue.
Don't repeat anything you said in the sim.
My usual antics. But obviously, a bit upsetting really to be dive bombed by someone on old tyres on non-rubbered line. It's never going to happen with a car that's not in a race as well. Bit of a poor decision by that driver. Won't say any more than that. To take me out like that as well is a bit of a cheap move. I'm not going to lie. But I'm sat here with a champion trophy, so
yeah, exactly. You got through. It was a great recovery, and like I say, back up into P2, and yeah, that crucial P2 is what you needed, because it was right to the last. It was like the last couple of minutes. We didn't know if it was going to happen.
Yeah, I really didn't know. I had it in my mind I might be safe with P3, but I still thought I've got to keep going. Otherwise, there's no point.
Yeah.
Realising after the race I could have got second, thinking I thought I had it with third. There's no point. So I was happy to actually get it on the second to last lap, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, like minutes left to go. Well, second place in the race, winning the championship, well done, Jack Ashton. You can't get any better than that. 2 trophies in one day. Cheers. Thank you, Jack. I'll take that one from you. And then we'll get first place, Matt Richards. We'll get Mr. Matt Richards in. Come on, take a seat. Join me on the sofa. Take that one. Right, so, well, we didn't have you pinned down for a win on this one because of where we did with qualifying, but out of nowhere, what a race that was.
Yeah, I mean, really, really tough. I think if Christian hadn't have made the mistake, I don't think I would have got through. Defending so well. Everything that I tried, left side, right side, dummy this way, dummy that way, it just wasn't working, and he was defending really well. So I did feel a bit sorry for him, but if that opportunity arises, you have to jump on it.
Yeah, that is one of them. But of course, obviously, this was only your second race in this one, because you first joined us at Zandvoort last time around. You won that. You joined us for this one. You won this one. So are you signing up for the next DTM Championship then?
Oh, of course, definitely. I did the last round just on the whim that I was here and thought, I'll give it a go, see what happens, and that went pretty well. And then I just thought, well, may as well give it another go, see what happens, and glad I did.
Yeah,
glad I did.
Committed driving. Obviously, no championship stuff for you today because obviously you only had the 2 races, but 2 out of 2, 70 race points in total. You've beaten half the grid who have done nearly the whole championship. So it's a great effort from you. And
pretty happy with that.
Spot on. Well, cracking stuff from you. We'll get the championship guys in as well because we want to give a talk to them. But again, well done on another race win.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Thank you. Well done, Matt Richards there. So let's get Matt Goodger-Scott if we've got him around. Is Matt Goodger-Scott anywhere? No, fine. We'll get Luke Bennett then. Excellent. Luke Bennett then, second place in the championship. Luke, talk to me. How much you feeling after that?
Annoyed?
I suspect so. You know, it's a tough one to go through the whole season working so hard towards that and to get it on that bit. But I have to say, you've done a fantastic season and drove amazingly. And just 2 points, it's an incredibly close championship.
I tried. I didn't know I was leading the championship if Jack was
So like
third.
the last couple of minutes you were leading.
I thought Jack being third was enough for him to win the championship anyway. So after finding out that third would have been enough, then just add salt to the wound.
You need to watch this race back later, and you need to see the championship table going up, down, up, down, up, down constantly throughout that. It was an incredible battle. The race as well, you know, talk us through. You had quite a few mishaps in that one as well.
Yeah, turn 2, lap 1, I was expecting something bad to happen because it's a hairpin and there's, 15 of us, so I was obviously annoyed about that, but I kept going. Obviously, after the first 2 rounds, I know coming from the back to the front, I'm able to do it. So I tried. I think I got back up to 6th, somewhere around there. Had the pit stop, and then it happened the exact same thing again. Turn 2. So, you know, I tried working my way back through. Managed to gain quite a lot at the end, but...
Like I say, you drove amazing. You recovered back to that. You were leading the championship. It was just at those last couple of minutes. And we were saying, is he going to catch the guys in front? He just needs like 1 or 2 more positions, but they were just that little bit too far away, unfortunately, at the last
bit.
But
maybe a few more laps.
A few more laps, you'd have had that. A few more laps, you'd have had that. But bring that mentality back into the next season. And
I'm doing touring cars, so...
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, bring that into that one, and then you don't want to lose it again. But no, a fantastic drive. P2 in the championship, of course. Hold your head up high with that one, mate. That's a good one.
Thank you.
Spot on. Cheers. Thanks for talking to us. Well, joining us with the drivers on that one. Actually, we've got Matt Goodgescott. He's crawled out the woodworks. So, Matt, let's get you over. Tallest man in the world. Excellent.
Well, not quite that tall.
Yeah, you're quite tall. Taller than me. Yeah, so, third in the championship. It looked like it was all over for you at the beginning of that race. You know, what happened at the final corner?
There's just the red strip on the outside of that corner, and if you put a wheel on it,
they're quite harsh.
It's like a 20% chance it's just going to spit you out. And
yeah, and it did.
It did.
It did. You hit the wheel hard. Luckily, there was no damage, of course, on. But, you know, a great recovery drive again. You managed to get past, and you managed to take back that third place. Of course, you were holding on in second place in the championship, but, you know, with Jack going to that position and that one, of course, the Red Bull Ring, it's not your favourite circuit.
No, well, it
isn't anymore.
I think it is, but it's definitely not.
It definitely isn't.
I guess I'm glad I managed to hold on to third, but I think I was listening to the commentary out of one ear while I was driving, while I was pootling along at the back, and I thought Christian was going to have it, so unlucky for him, but just not comfortable out there today. So
it is what it is with that one.
It is.
No, but like I say, I think fantastic recovery drive all the way from P13. You know, you managed to hold on to third in the championship. You know, a huge achievement for the guys at Camsport as well. You know, Camsport on the thing, and you know, you've had great success in the SRES championship as well. You've had your first race win for that.
Yeah, hopefully it goes better than this did.
Well, yeah, Camsport's looking a lot more controlled now, a lot better on track, and we hope to see some more championships, podiums from the Camsport guys very soon. Spot on. Cheers. Thanks for talking to us, and excellent stuff. Well, we'll head over to the podium now, of course, for the race results and the championship points again. So stick around, and we'll get that set up for you in just a moment. Excellent. Well, thank you very much for everyone on the stream and in the venue, of course, for being patient while we got the podium set up. I have to say, a fantastic final round of fantastic championship. I have to say, everyone who's racing it has been absolutely fantastic. The racing has been incredibly close all the way throughout the season, so everyone, in fact, for themselves, should give themselves a round of applause for a fantastic first season of the DTM Championship. Give yourselves a round of applause, guys. Absolutely fantastic. To commentate on race, for the guys at home to actually watch at home, it's been fantastic. To the final round then, the results that we have with an incredible time of a 1:23.038, 3.9 seconds off from the front. A huge round of applause for round 5 at the Red Bull Ring DTM race for Christian Kelly. Well done. Thank you for that. Yeah, we can shake hands. We're not scared. We're not scared. Right then, so in second place, with their best time of a 1:22.855, 3.3 seconds off the race leader at the end. A round of applause, please, for Jack Ashton. Well done, well done. And then finally, your race leader giving it 2 for 2, winning at Zandvoort last round, and another win here with a best time of a 1:22.299, fastest lap of the race. A round of applause for Matt Richards. Well done. Spot on. Your top 3 for round 5 of the Red Bull Ring. Huge round of applause for your top 3. Excellent stuff. Now we move swiftly on to the championships itself. And again, what a championship final it was, with the maths being done live. Thank you very much to Colin, wherever you are. Thank you, sitting right next to me, doing the maths, because I couldn't do it. But we have got the championship results. And I did not fail maths at school. It's difficult to do maths while commentating. But anyway, right, so in third place then, with 135 race points. We thought it was all over, but he managed to pull it back. A huge round of applause for Matt Goodger-Scott. Well done. In second position, by a mere 2 points from the win, a huge round of applause with 138 race points, Luke Bennett. Wow. And then finally, with only about 1.5 minutes left of the race, with a final overtake which gained those 2 extra points, a huge round of applause for your 2020 championship winner with 140 race points, Jack Ashton. Well, again, a huge round of applause for your 2020, we'll call it, championship DTM winners. Brilliant stuff. Again, thank you very much for everyone in the venue. Thank you for everyone for taking part in the DTM Championship as well, these late 2019 and 2020. Again, if you are joining us for the British Championship as well, it'd be great to see you there. And for everyone at the stream, thank you very much for watching. Good night.